Okay. Okay, and we are officially live. Um, Hi guys, to whoever who is tuning in. I'm so excited to finally be live with Jessica. So I am Braylon, if any of you guys don't know who I am. I do a lot of reactions to more like K-pop content, but I've really dove into Street Woman Fighter content, and what's going on right now is World of Street Woman Fighter that is currently airing, and it is already crazy. There's a lot of opinions already, and yeah, I'm just excited to dive in. So this live is pretty much going to be just our take on episode 1. But yeah, Jessica, do you want to quickly say who you are, what we're doing?
So my name is Jessica Holyfield, and I'm a professional dance choreographer, dance educator, and dance analyst for the real world outside of the camera and for YouTube. And I've been following the Fighter franchise since 2023 when the second season came out. And I've reviewed all of the entire franchise, including Vietnam, Be Ambitious, things of the like. And I primarily focus on the analysis side, taking a look through the whys as to rankings, helping understand other logistics outside of just what's put in front of us, and to be an advocate for the beauty and the art of street dance and the culture that comes with it. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. I don't do lives very often, but yeah, I don't mind them. I think I'm just not the most technically efficient on those compared to the other long form format, but this is going to be really fun. I'm excited to be joining you for this.
Yeah, I mean, let's just jump right into it. Because I feel like this first episode, I had so many different opinions just on like the battles and like what I liked, what I didn't like with some of the other dancers. And we can, I guess, go through the events of everything. I know, so I'll just say my favorites at the moment. Just because I don't know, I love choosing a favorite at the beginning. I don't know why I do that, but definitely already my favorite is definitely Motive, AG Squad, and Royal Family. Like those are my top 3 for sure. I think I know I like RH Tokyo as well. Like they have a really cool style, as well as they have Rihata, who I've been a fan of for so long. But I wouldn't say that they're my favorite yet. We'll see. Osaka Ojo Gang is obviously cool as well. And I don't know if you want to kind of go into what our thoughts were before starting episode 1. Like, did you have any predictions? Did you have any, like, what you thought was going to go down? Or did you have any comments already about, like, the dialogue that was already going on with the show? Because TikTok was on fire when all the teasers came out, when all the oh my god, when the different squads were announced. Like, yeah, did you have any thoughts?
Yeah, so I started whenever they released the silhouettes, like they didn't even release the full names. I was able to kind of place my predictions on who I believed was going to be on each team. It was really fun to kind of discuss alongside so many different people on what they were picking up on from TikTok, X, Twitter, and on Patreon as well, which is really fun. And I think when the episode dropped, it was as predicted in the terms of what type of narrative Mnet wanted to make. I think I was predicting as well a lot of the contestants that have been on the show, either like who have been on a televised show before. I was expecting them to kind of go about it in the way that I was expecting it to, but I do believe part of it comes from a lot of the information I received up front from people. I really love the fact that so many people are able to give me information to help me set up how I need to look at what I watch, because I never want to analyze something without the proper context. And so when the K-pop challenge dropped, I reviewed all of that, and I knew what each team's pros and cons or strengths and areas of growth were going to be once I saw who was on it. And I'm actively looking at when Trix releases stuff. I'm about to look at Ojo Gang's reaction to their own matchups to hear more background on what they thought. I did hear that there were some crews that were wishing that it was judged more fairly, because I do know some of the members of Ojo Gang in particular have experience with Street Dance China, which is more on the fair side. And oh, hi. I think somebody commented hello. So hi. They have Street Dance China experience with battles, which is very different than the Fighter franchise. So even though my predictions were similar to what I was expecting, I wasn't as surprised whenever there were upsets. Emotionally, did I agree with them? I didn't agree with of course certain matchups, but I understand that sometimes bad marketing. I see that sometimes it's you really don't know what judges are allowed or not allowed to say in terms of how they judge, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm not holding anybody to a degree of not accountability. That's a wrong way to put it. I'm seeing it more as I'm not surprised when things happen a certain way, and I'm not emotionally investing because of the manipulation that Mnet is known for. And it's not fair to anybody who's a part of it for me to assume. It's just not the most appropriate thing for me to assume that somebody's behaving a certain way just because of one context from one narrative supplied by a company or broadcasting channel that is known for manipulation, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm thankful that I'm not as upset about certain things. I'm just hopeful that those who are a part of the show don't take it to heart, that it relates to their competency of their craft. That's always something that I want to be helpful to help navigate, if that makes sense. So
yeah. I love how you articulated all of that, because 100% like Mnet. Well, okay, I'll just say specifically what I heard in regards to like Mnet and like the editing and what people saw kind of coming on the horizon was definitely like bumps up. And I don't know, I definitely saw some things like in the earlier clips, at least I would say they were definitely releasing some things that it just seemed like they were heavy into favoring
like
the Korean
bias.
team. Yes, in regards to Mnet and what they were doing with their online presence. So many like behind the scenes, so many like interviews and like cute little videos of Bumps Up specifically I saw they were posting. And then that's when I realized the backlash with the fans and a lot of the comments that they were saying on TikTok saying like, oh, we already know that Bumps Up is gonna win. Like we already know that this is gonna happen. And I was not shocked because I'm like, if that happens, then it is what it is. Because even in the second season of Street Woman Fighter, a lot of people thought that Jam Republic was robbed of like the win because they were, I don't know, maybe more biased towards one team or the other. I won't go into that and my opinions on what that was, but
it doesn't hurt to get into it. I mean, I feel like the real question would be, which is something, I mean, if you think about the politics of Mnet and you think that it's World of Street Woman Fighter, do I expect Team Korea to make it to finals? Yes. Do I expect them to win? No, I don't. I expect another team to win. Now, the question is, do I expect it to be Japan, USA, AG Squad, Royal Family? I can't tell you what specific team. It'll have to be as we go through. So far, they're setting up RH Tokyo the same way Bebe was set up. So that is something to note. I think that we can look at trends and patterns of how things are shot and narratives made can help us have better predictors as to who's going to end up where. Because yes, oh hi, this is my cat. So I think the bigger shock would be if Korea wins the show. I see why Mnet's pushing who they were, because of they were the reason why we have World of Street Woman Fighters is the OG squad, right? So do I think it was the right call to get all of them as like your Avengers team? No. I do feel like Mnet kind of double-edged sworded it a little bit. And I feel like I've had a lot of Madeline just said going for that super kill retribution for real. Yeah. I do feel like a Japan team's gonna make it to finals. I'd be surprised if one wasn't. Ojo Gang's being set up like a wolf flow right now. They do have more choreography experience than people realize. But yeah, so all that to say, to your point with Bums Up, they're gonna make it through to finals on the global viewing. But they've even if Mnet wasn't pushing them as much as they were, I would have expected them to get as much viewage that we are getting, because a lot of people who are watching, I mean, a lot of things that are happening with Bums Up in terms of the promotion, it's more so like letting the Korean audience know, or I mean, basically everybody, hey, this exists, but mostly the Korean audience primarily are those in the fighter franchise. They know that, okay, Bums Up's been a part of the game for a while, and that kind of marketing really helps. All marketing is marketing, whether it's good or bad, right? So just like there's backlash, people are still talking, so it reaches like this. And so that's kind of Mnet's, they've always kind of banked on that, you know? So that's the unfortunate thing, because it's at the expense of street dance at the end of the day, which has always been my hang up. Which has been a lot of conversations me and a lot of people have already been having, is how do we go about this? How are we going to go about this in a way that maintains authenticity and genuinity within street dance? And that's that can be a really tricky thing, because even in America, that's such a tricky thing to navigate. So I know this is a bit long-winded. I'm long form, as you're noticing here. So yeah, somebody also said, I'm glad even though the program is just so stressful, the girls seem to still keep it authentic and support other teams as well. I agree. And also a lot of people are able, the fact Ocho Gang's able to do a reaction on the matchups is something completely different than every other instance of the fighter franchise, with how they've let things happen on the internet. Like, that's so surprising. I get to watch that later today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. And then Diego said, I felt like Kyoka losing was for the comments. Would I be surprised? No. If I think that could have been a component. I'm like being completely honest. I think like, I mean, Mike, whenever I was watching the episode, because I get to do that, which is really fun. That's the beauty of a VPN, but I'm not using one. It's fine. Yeah, with certain calls getting made for battles.
Oh my God.
I've already touched on judges, which is something I would love to hear your thoughts on the judges before I chime in with my own feelings or my own perspective. But yeah, a lot of calls that get made, a lot of narratives pushed in the beginning. A lot of it is going to tailor to noise marketing for sure. Yeah. So they definitely are doing it for push, because it's global and they want to get global numbers. And so the best way to do it is to have global scandals. That makes sense. Scandals travel a lot further than good deeds, unfortunately. So
yeah, I feel like Mnet for sure, they're not afraid of controversy. They're not afraid of, like, a lot of people were calling them out like so much. And I feel like they're just like loving it. They're like, yes, like the comments, the views, because now when the episode does air, everyone's tuning in. Everyone is just ready to see what the outcomes are going to be. Like, they know exactly what they're doing, in my opinion. And I don't know, even with like some of the different battles, and we'll go through. I hope that we can go through each one, because I have thoughts on each one.
Oh yeah. If you got the list, I'm not gonna.
I have the list.
She's guiding us all. I just get to chime in here and there, and you guys too. Y'all put in comments if you have any questions that you want us to answer or touch on. I'm reading everything y'all are saying. I'm not touching on it. So thank you guys for joining us. Side note, it's so fun. I know I recognize some of y'all's names. Oh, it's so fun. But
my gosh, I love this. Oh my gosh. I just want to add that I'm just so happy that we're doing this, because I love the discussion, and there's such a big fandom for World of Street Fighter, women's fighter. And hearing all the different discussions and the different opinions, I love it. And like, yeah, definitely feel free to say your opinions in the comments of if you might agree with me, if you might agree with Jessica, and we can just go through each battle and see what everyone is saying. I'm just really excited. But yeah, was I saying something before? Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say, in regards to like the different judges and like the different outcomes of the battles, I just was really shocked, because I was like, okay, like, are the producers kind of telling them to go with this, go with that, because this decision will create more drama? Or, you know, there's certain things where I'm just like, or the judges will do like a sweep, like all three of them will choose one person, and I know in my head they did not deserve to win at all. So there's certain things that I'm seeing in the actual episode that I'm like starting to wonder, are the producers telling them who to vote for? Because there's certain ones where I'm just like, there's no way. Oh, sorry, there's a comment. Did I film a reaction? I did. I'm just slow at editing, and I will put out my reaction very soon. But
And
the entire episode will be out soon.
yep. And
It was
Kevin,
crazy.
I saw your comment. It's so good to see you here, by the way. But you said, why discuss to decide for a draw? I agree with that. I also feel that even giving any form of feedback before voting, that to me is I don't, it's not my preference, because you don't want that to be a sense of bias or sway for other judges to hear somebody's feedback. I'd say just you vote or you submit your score and then you can converse. That's a more respectable approach, because of, you don't want to hear feedback and then everybody go, okay, we're voting for this person over here. Like, don't tell somebody you're picking somebody else before giving the vote. Like, give your vote and then talk about the why. I think more it's just what normally happens. I think there's so many things that we can touch on for what makes this not as much of a simulation for street dance culture, but we don't have to touch on that as much as we'll talk about some things here. So, and somebody also said Mike Song has a podcast, but he didn't really dive into the reason for his decision. Part of me feels like he's not allowed to, because they're still actively recording. I don't expect him or any of the judges to actually give honest, here's why I had to do it. I will say this. There's a fellow Kinja named John Ha, who has judged in China, I believe. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. And he touched on the podcast. I don't know if it was Kinja's podcast or somebody else, where he was told by production in China, I don't even know what show, and it doesn't matter. The point is, it does happen, where they're told you can't vote a certain way, or this is your scope you have to stay in, because of this back end politics going on that a higher up is calling shots on. Because at the end of the day, the goal is to make money. Street Woman Fighter made a lot of money for Mnet and for whoever it needed to make money for, which is why they keep going. They're not going to keep going on a franchise that doesn't make them any money, which is why I don't know what Stage Fighter is going to do, because I don't know how successful it was in comparison to Street Fighter. I would love to have a female version, but that's beside the point. That's why I'm getting mixed information about Stage Fighter, which is why I'm not sure how they're going to navigate it. But there's a reason why they went back to Street Fighter as soon as they did, personally. But yeah. So anyway, that's just a little side note. So I do think with Mike especially, I would be shocked, because if you listen to like people like Keone Amari Madrid and Kinjas, when they competed on World of Dance, the show, they didn't share what went on until after the show concluded. You know, so there's always stuff in the contract. So even though we get an Ojo Gang reaction, there's probably things that they themselves probably can't do because of contract. And so that's anyway, you go ahead and
that's a good point. Because I now thinking about it, like I'm certain that the production and the producers and the higher ups have a huge hand in how these results are coming out. And I don't know, it just makes me so annoyed, because like you're saying, like, it should be about dance and like the skills, and like it's just kind of frustrating seeing the battles and like seeing someone who's so obviously better and like their technique is shining and they are on fire, and then they lose, and it's just like there is no way that they should have lost. But we can get into details. Okay,
I agree, Ducky Day. I saw your comment. Yeah. So it's more of not a you have to do this, but here's this guideline that we highly recommend you lean towards to make AKA our lives easier.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, let's get into it, Linny.
Oh gosh. Okay. So I don't know. Should we just jump right into the battles? I'm so excited to go into the battles.
Sure.
Or I can ask you about, what do you think about like the different countries that are currently involved? Like, I don't know how to.
Did I have a country that I wanted to see there?
Yeah, yes. Because there was a trailer or like a teaser, something that happened like a while ago, and it had like, oh, South Africa and all these other countries are coming together, and then it showed up and there's 2 Japan groups, and I don't know, like I just thought that there was gonna be more, but I wonder why they were chosen, or like what's your opinion on the countries that are here?
I've heard different things, and those are the comments chime in here, because I know some of you guys have actually brought this up too. Could be a couple of things. So let me start with what I know knowledge-wise of American dance shows. So I have a lot of colleagues that I'm blessed to know and be a part of conversations with. And they've been on things like ABDC, America's Got Talent, those types of things. A lot of times, at least in America, how the production works is time is money. And when you get a lot of foreigners from across the way, it can cost a lot of money very quickly. And so Japan is a neighboring country. So I would say that's a little bit easier. USA, it would be so disrespectful to not include the country. All of the street dance that you're making money off of, it originated. So that would be like, it would actually be super disrespectful to not include USA. And we can touch on how I'm so thankful we got Marley and Ruthie and all of them, and Logan as a part of it. I mean, because I know, but yeah, so having who we have, part of me feels like one reason why we have 2 Team Japans could be, somebody mentioned a super kill of redemption because of how many people were so upset that super kill got taken out so early. They were very competitive. They were a project team. So they were very competitive. It was just, it's a short end of the stick on the global viewage and things, all different logistics. And their commandos were strong. Like the routines they did in the 2v2s in the groups were strong, especially against Wolflow. It was probably one of the coolest elimination matchups that we saw with Wolflow and Subakill. So it was really unfortunate, their early departure. So that's what my personal feelings could be a component. Like I think of 15 possible reasons why things could be. I never just put all my eggs in one basket because there's a little bit of truth in everything. So, but that's been something entertained I've heard. But yeah, I would say the reason why they kind of only went it to 6 is if you notice in Stream 1 Fighter Vietnam, they went with 6 teams. I don't know if that was a tester for them to see if it could work with 16 versus 8, because if you have less teams, less money per team, or sorry, there's less money being spent to supply the teams for the viewership. Also, there's visa stuff, housing everybody. So they did a huge chunk of filming and everybody went home because Marley and Ruthie just got done competing at Versus Style hip hop battles. She was a battle guest there in LA like 2 weeks ago. Marley's teaching everywhere right now. So I have a feeling there's blocks of time that they are scheduled to film. If you're still in the game, essentially. So that's a little, I don't know if that's how it was in the other franchises, but that's how it is this time, which makes sense because why keep a team all the way over there if you're not filming, right? So I am surprised they didn't have 2 Team Koreas if they had 2 Team Japans.
Oh,
so
interesting.
Yeah, so that's something somebody entertained, which I agree with. A country that I wish was competing was Canada because the team that they showed was DM Nation from 2022, and I shadow judged that routine. I scored it at Hip Hop International Worlds when I was a shadow judge there. So I actually was there in person adjudicating that. My score didn't count, but I still had to be held to the standard of the judges. So I know that routine very, very well. It's probably one of the highest scoring HHI level routines you could ever find, is that particular one they used. So that's also an all-female crew. So that's why I was like, if any team that they promoted, I would love to see. It would have been cool to see Lab with Sienna, but Sienna is booked and blessed. So I would have been shocked if she could have even been a leader for that because of her time, because she's with XG. She did stuff with Coachella recently. She's busy, and she just finished up their world tour, XG. So, but I'm saying like there's a lot of teams. I'm glad we went with Motive because of who's there. But I also, so that would be my country pick out of what they showed because of what I knew in footage. I was like, I can see them there, but they used Sienna's footage, Lab's footage, to showcase USA, which is why I was expecting Lab because Sienna's got skin in the game on stuff. Yeah. Oh, Lab's an agency? Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. And somebody also said we need that Southeast US dance representation. Yeah, because Moda's based out of Florida. A lot of people don't know that. But yeah, Marley's based in Orlando. I think it's Orlando. Yeah. Which is cool because it's actually a tourist spot. There's a lot of adult, like professional dancers that are there because of Disney, Universal, so many tourist spots that performers are at. So there's a lot of lucrative opportunity, like New York or Vegas. Vegas is another spot too. But we can talk about that later. But yeah, so I think somebody also said 2 Japanese teams could be one team, but also New Zealand and Australia could be one team, and then add 2 other teams for more diversity. It could be a budget thing though. Yeah, I agree with that. Also too, AG Squad and Royal Family, Paris gets the rep for it all. Like she trained them all. So that's what's really funny. And a lot of people are downplaying Royal Family so much, but they have experience from Bubblegum. A lot of them are from Bubblegum, which is the junior crew that would compete at the same level as sorority and royal family. So it's a whole interesting thing. And a lot of people say that, oh, they're the next generation, to downplay. They have different experiences. And I touched on this in the episode reaction, that it is partially on Mnet for the footage they chose, because the footage only further solidified AG Squad as OG Royal, which a lot of them are OG Request crew, which was before Royal Family was developed. So a lot of footage, like the Sorry Girls, are Request. So it's a very interesting kind of flip of the coin on a lot of it, is that Royal Family got set up to a degree of just looking like new faces when they're skeleton crew for Rihanna's Super Bowl, where they're the demo dancers for that. So it's like they have a lot of skin in the game for different projects, but just not in the same way as AG Squad, what they're known for. If that makes sense, right?
Yes.
They said, oh yeah, the footage they show for Royal Family and Aiki's diabolical, right? So I think they really, like, Mnet set up even the crews, because they don't know what we know. My job is to know as much information as possible going in. I have my phone and I can do research, and I have people that can tell me on the fly who's doing what. They don't. When they're sitting there in those interviews and they're watching the footage, all they know is to go off of what their past information was before they walked into that interview space. So that's the really downside of it, is Mnet knows how to cultivate an environment for drama. And they did a very good job of that, both on the audience side and on the team side.
Yes, for sure. I mean, I don't have my only opinions, I guess, in regards to like the countries chosen or whatever, is definitely like I expected more diversity. I expected just like the countries that they kind of showed at the very, very beginning, that one like little teaser that they showed. But definitely it makes sense that it could be budget, and with everyone's time, like I'm not surprised, but I definitely did not think that we needed to Japan cruise at all. And then it would have been nice to see some of the girls from Osaka and RH Tokyo in the same crew. Like, just thinking about that makes me excited. But yeah, we can move on unless you wanted anything to say. I didn't have much opinion. I just wanted to know what you thought, really.
No, we can move on. We can actually look to see what people are saying in the comments here. Paris is basically a cast member. I know, like, she gets name drops in every Street One Fighter series
every single time.
Awesome, especially when Mega Crew comes out, for sure. And I've touched extensively as to why that is. Hate the narrative for underdogs. Yeah, I mean, I wonder. I mean, everyone's got to get dubbed with something, and I guess that was the short end of the stick for them. Han asks, since Aaliyah Janelle is a guest judge, who do y'all want to judge the Mega Cruise? Any person that you get that has any skin in the game with megas, you're gonna get a biased perspective. Like, not biased, like it's the same thing as, you know, if you have Choi Young-jun judge K-pop with people there, there's always an affiliation. Like I talked about this with Road to Kingdom. It was a different groups going against each other, and then they're covering other groups stuff. But my point though is, anytime you get somebody that's like known in the TV side of things or the media side, there's always going to be an affiliation to a country or a team or a credential, right? Because if you look at Rihata's choreographed for so many people, Royal Family is known for their Mega Crew blueprint. AG Squad's got the OG Royal Family tag on them now. Motive's on Mega Cruise, but they're mostly exhibition through World of Dance. And then Rihata, RH Tokyo, and Ojo Gang both have D-League they can use at their disposal, because D-League's a professional Japanese dance league. And Minami on Ojo Gang, she's the one with the green hair. She's on Katakawa Dreams, which is the reigning champions of that league for the past 2 years. And then you've got Rihata, used to be a director of Avex Royal Brats, which is another team that has competed, that is currently on D-League. So it's like there's so many different circuits of people you can pull for megas. So, and even with Leah Kim, I can understand Leah Kim, but then people will say Leah Kim has a bias for Korea because she knows them. Does that make sense? Like, that's the downside with all of it. So that's why it's like, who do you get? It's this. I don't know. What's really funny though is somebody said, and I agree with, the funniest thing is JYP having the fairest comments about battles.
I saw that.
I'm shocked, honestly. So
I can't believe I'm saying that I'm so happy he's here. I mean, do we hate him? I don't think we hate him, but when I saw him come out and the things that he was saying in regards to like the different battles and like the explanation that he gives for why he did what, I was like, oh, he's actually like a great judge, like a really great judge, and he knows what he's talking about. Like when he talks, I'm just like, okay, makes total sense. But yeah, we can go into so at the beginning of the episode, I want to get your opinion. So you know how they have, I believe it's the other crews, they choose who they think is going to win versus who they think is gonna lose. And I think RH Tokyo was chosen first, that all of them thought was gonna win. Second was tied Osaka Ojo Gang with AG Squad. They were tied for second place. And I think all the way at like 6 was Royal Family, which I was like, dang, like they really think that they're a super weak crew. I don't know if I would say I'm surprised that RH Tokyo was voted first, but maybe I would have thought that AG Squad, like the rest of the crews would have assumed that AG Squad would be number 1 and then one of the Japan crews maybe second, but RH Tokyo got first, and I don't know, I think I was actually a little surprised by that, even though they're cool, and Rihata, her choreography is iconic, like, she is well known already. But yeah, what do you think about those rankings and, like, who everyone thought was gonna be the winner, and
Mm.
did you like it? Like, did you agree, I mean?
I mean, I think with the rankings, I really can't say because I wasn't given all
Okay,
the information that the crews did for voting. I
right.
have my information, so
Mm,
but like I said, with the Mnet narrative that they pushed, even in the videos they
mm,
showed, it makes sense why Royal Family was 6 based on the information we were given as to what kind of footage was shown to the crews. None of the footage was showing the current members of Royal Family in a
right.
positive light. They were showing AG Squad more. So it actually makes sense for AG Squad to be like higher in the ranks because of
Mhm.
that knowledge of basically Royal Family and AG Squad they got double footage for their advantage there.
Mhm.
I
They
also
actually
think
did.
too, something that gets talked about quite often, which I always find a bit on the funnier side, is why a lot of times it's just assumed that a team's not good or strong if you don't know about them.
Yeah,
So Motive scoring
makes
low,
no sense.
just like Wolflow, never really scored that great, but they're a different topic entirely.
Mm,
I'm always ones where it's like you should be concerned if you don't know a team very well because that means all they have is that discovery. Like they don't have as much of a global pool, which can
mm,
be a disadvantage in a competition like this. But based on how Mnet chooses to structure them in the episodes, it can really work in their favor. And so far with Motive, it's working very favorably for them. I knew
mm,
Motive going in. I knew they could battle. I knew that they have adjudication experience because Marley and Ruthie are judges with World of Dance, the competition. They're on the
mm,
circuit. And Marley's on the poster for the World Finals, Dance Your Style, Red Bull.
mm.
She's on the poster of it. So it's not like she's not an unfamiliar face to
Right.
those who are in those circuits. But a lot of people in the general public don't know her. I knew her since she was on cast for Monsters Dance, where she
Mm,
was nominated and then got on the show lineup. So it doesn't surprise me. It could have been a completely different order and I could probably see it because everybody has skills that can make them very competitive and everybody is at the disposal of Mnet and what they choose to show on the show. So I do expect
mm,
Korea to score well on views. It's never not been that way, if that makes sense, in the sense of they have that domestic pool, which is very, very helpful for them. Do I think if we
mm.
take the global voting out of it, I can see it move around. It just depends. If you
Yeah.
made everything fair, like if you actually got battle judges to judge the battles, you actually got people who are specialized in judging mega crews, who have trained in Hip Hop International, World of Dance, who
Mm,
actually trained in a criteria, WDCC, we'll throw in that as well. If you actually have people who are, I mean, the only subjective one you could pull would be the K-pop challenge, but it's people who know, okay, these are the criteria and you stick to it. Like we're very clear on what it is and none of it's about what is it? Public opinion. It's based on
mm,
people who are trained to do the thing. That's who you're judged. It'd be a very different ranking. And that's just ideal world. And we're living in a world where a lot of it's at the disposal of the general public, which can be a really cool thing or a really not great thing in terms of really showcasing the beauty and the art of dance when a lot of the general public doesn't know what that even looks like. Hence the baseline question, is street dance, how do we keep it authentic in this space and show people that there's something beautiful and artistic about it, but without sacrificing culture is a really tricky thing, right? So, and yeah, I don't know. Oh, and side note, I am really hoping that they have like a live judging in Korea in July, because I will be there. So I would love to be a part of a filming. But who knows? Mnet, I'd be shocked if Mnet would want me even near their building because of things that I say about them. So some people ask me if I would ever be on the show as like a special guest or whatever. I don't know, because I don't know if I want to give Mnet that privilege of ammo, because they have a lot to glean from. But I'll be like featured as a talking head for for the like, hey, here's all the people talking about the show. Like I'll do that. But I don't know if I'll like sign a contract with them. We'll have to see.
No, I don't know. Mnet kind of scares me in regards to like any type of contract with them. I don't know. I just feel like they can be shady, and like everyone knows that. Hopefully they don't find me for saying that, but
y'all will protect me, right? Y'all will stand up for me in the comments whenever Mnet makes me look like I'm a horrible human. Y'all will be like, Jess isn't like that.
Oh God.
Anyway, but yeah, but if you want, we can go ahead and talk through the battles, because you said
yes.
And we can go past. I know we're getting close to the time we said, but we can keep going as long as we want. I'm indifferent.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, like we can aim for the time we said. And then if the conversation gets heated, because I feel like it's about to get a little bit not heated in a bad way, but just like
you're gonna go deep. A lot of us got a lot of things to say about our battles for sure.
Yes, and I'm excited to see your opinions, because if we have different opinions, honestly, I feel like you know a lot more than me, so I'm probably just gonna be like, no, you're right, yes, because I feel like I don't know, we're different in the way that you know exactly what to look for, and I just love the flashiness and the drama sometimes, but
that is a beautiful. Oh, thank you. They said they ain't gonna touch our street woman fighter bestie. I got you. Oh my God, I didn't say that, guys. I'm not just those things. I'm your street fighter bestie. I didn't say that in my intro. Goodness. Anyway, but yes. So I think it's important, though. I don't want you to downplay your layman perspectives, what that's called, LYNNIE, where you have eyes and you have ears. So you know how music works by being a listener, and you have eyes based on patterns that you see in dancing. You know what works really well, even if you can't articulate it. You can still have like, well, for me, this feels good, and this is what I picked up on. Like, there's still value in that. So I don't want you to downplay, even if our opinions are different. We can both contribute to the conversation. So
okay,
you're fine.
Honestly, watch us like have the exact same opinions, because some of these battles are no brainers. Like I'm just like, okay, they definitely should have won, or they definitely should not have won. But there's some that are also a little blurred. But okay, the first battle was Honey J versus Marley. Okay, I'll just. So Marley ended up winning. Spoiler alert. I don't know if we should. Oh, are we saying?
We can say who won. Yeah, it's been almost a week now, and so I was spoiled with some of the results before going in anyway, even for the analysis. So it's like spoiled in the sense of I had an idea, I just didn't know the actual like who did what, if that makes sense. So
yeah. Okay. So Honey J versus Marley. Marley ended up winning, and it was a sweep, obviously. So definitely, in my opinion, so Honey J started off first, and she came in with like the energy and all this. And in my mind, I'm already assuming like, okay, Team USA, Marley is well known. Like even my sister who watches the show, my little sister, she's like, she was watching the trailer with me for the show, and she's not really so into that world of reacting to the show, but she noticed Marley and was like, oh my God, I love her. Like she's in this, like she's gonna be on the show. I need to watch it. So yeah, I think I already knew that Marley was gonna kill it. Team USA, where hip hop originated, I knew she was gonna eat. So she definitely won. Honey J definitely came in with so much energy, and I think she thought that if I give all this energy, I'm gonna win no matter what. Like, this is what the judges want, is just the energy, and I'm gonna be in her face and I'm gonna do this and that. And Marley was calm. She knew exactly what she was gonna do. She knows how to battle. And I thought that she was insane. And the way that Honey J was definitely getting in her face and not really giving her enough room, that was getting me a bit annoyed, but still, like, she was able to make her look a little dumb, in my opinion, Honey J. But yeah, no, Marley won. In my opinion, I thought that was spot on. Sweep, I thought that was spot on. What do you think?
I would have given it to Marley as well. So I always establish when I look at battles, even though I'm a choreo head and I have adjudication experience and judging experience with choreography, I do take courses and I do study to be a better advocate for street dance and specifically the battle scene and how the politics of that are, how they're supposed to be judged, what you're supposed to look for. So my criteria is creativity, originality, meaning showcasing something that hasn't been seen before. So what JYP said, and we can touch on that with JYP being a judge and all that later, but the actual vocabulary you use, so what movements are you using, and if you are disciplined in a fundamental style, so for Marley it would be hip hop, what did you choose to go about it? What kind of vocabulary did you choose to use in reference to your music? Because musicality is another big component, especially for me, where it's your relationship with your music and your movement. So how does your movement make sense to your track? And so if your track is a hip hop based track, then your movement needs to showcase a sense of awareness to that. You don't have to convert your whacking to hip hop. So if you have Ibuki dancing to a Wu-Tang track, it doesn't necessarily mean like she can still hit it in the right way if she knows how to predict it right, or if she knows how to accent certain parts of the music effectively to her techniques. So that's where vocabulary comes in, but that also enhances originality and creativity, right? Like I mentioned, musicality, of course, like I said, connection between movement and music. Right. And then with the, I mean, a lot of times you had some judges say, how does it make me feel? Who wants it more? That's very subjective. So it doesn't matter my personal feelings. It matters about, here's the criteria I've set based on what they did. Did it meet the criteria? But because it's a battle, it is a direct comparison. It's not the same as a competition where you rank it like K-pop challenge. It is a direct matchup, but Mega Cruise is a ranking system, should be, right? Where you rank it and they're all against the same criteria, not this team versus this team. But in battles, it's a 1v1. You're against each other. Who hit the criteria to the most effective? My big note that I'm giving Mnet for this in the formats is they should not have two different tracks for both people. It should be the same track. It should be the same track for both. And because what happens is your musicality resets, meaning I can't see who hit their musicality or their creativity or difficulty or complexity more than the other when both justify their tracks. Ibuki and Lip J are a prime example of that. They both justify their tracks and you couldn't compare because they weren't on the same track like you normally see them in every single battle ever. And so we'll touch on that when we get to Ibuki and Lip J, but that's my big note, which is what makes these calls harder, especially when you have a judge panel that some of them have experience with seeing battles, but they're not practitioners in the battle circuit nearly as much as choreography, especially Aaliyah and Mike, right? I'm not downplaying what they know. I'm saying that what they are known for in the scene is choreography, and that's very different. But there is overlap, so you can expect some similar choices, but that's beside the point. So going to this with Marley and Honey J, who had a more impressionable, creative perspective, musicality, who had difficulty, Marley. I also would say with Honey J, the fact that she was so close to Marley, that wasn't the most respectful thing. You want to give your opponent space because now Marley couldn't go to the floor because it was a safety hazard because Honey J was so close. So that was something Trix touched on, which I agree with. And so that's what's the benefit of watching other people who are in the battle scene when they watch these types of battles. They provide certain things where it's like that's a courtesy thing, that they need to be mindful of. And now with Honey J, she set herself up to get hit like that from Marley. Marley, a lot of her choices on creativity, sliding in between her legs, knocking her on either side of her head. She literally walked herself into it and she put herself in the line of fire and Marley shot. So that's why it doesn't surprise me that Marley did what she did, and so that's why it's and then I hear some people on the sides. Yeah, we were talking about the dance style descriptions, I touched on that when we looked at all of these signature movements for I did a whole video and looking, it was like 2 hours long.
Oh.
You don't have to watch it, Linny, but I'm saying though, but
I
we
want to
touched
watch it.
Okay, well, it's a description of all the different like styles, and we touched on it in the comments about. For me, a lot of times Mnet puts girlish hip hop or gangster in the same playing field as hip hop, and they're not the same thing. Like gangster and girls hip hop is like an adjective used to describe like the baseline, which should be hip hop. But because of how they're structuring the terms, it makes it feel like they have equal value in the sense of cultural investment. Does that make sense? So that's why those are the types of topics I've had to talk through with the show, is because not a lot of people, like the general public who don't dance, is really what I'm touching on mostly. They don't have to know those things, which should be on Mnet's part to steward that element to make it more of a respectful approach to street dance, because you're involving it as a product that you're selling people, right? So that's why, yeah. All that to say, to go back to the original thing, who would I have voted for? I voted for Marley because of every component that I touched on. She nailed, she elevated. And for the type of track she had, she met it and she exceeded it, and she hit certain parts of the music in ways that weren't as predictable. Literally the caca, like some of you guys commented, that was fantastic because she didn't go what was predictable on the track. She navigated and hit on a different part that you normally wouldn't hear. That is where your creativity comes in. So for me, my vote went to Marley, and it didn't shock me that, you know, all that. So, Jane, I'm glad that I could help with learning information. We all get to learn together.
Okay, give me 1 second. I just realized my computer is actually going to die soon. I just have to switch my camera and then plug in my computer. But do you want to go over like some of the comments while I quickly do this?
Yeah. Okay, let me go read everyone. Okay. Okay. More discussions about history of street dance and the styles represented in the show. I agree with that. History of hip hop and whacking and cultures. I will say something that has been helpful is this type of show helps people get curious, and then they're able to research, or they're able to touch on, oh, what's this hip hop that I keep noticing? What's breaking? Or, oh, what is Kyoka known for? And then you get to see these types of things get introduced to them in ways that they would have never searched if the show didn't exist. So I see a lot of pros that have come out of it, even if certain things aren't as stewarded as well. So, but Madeline, I agree with you. And hi, by the way. Oh man. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that fandoms attack international teams. Everybody will attack somebody for something nowadays. Goodness. Oh man. I agree with you. So what Nurian, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. I really thought Mnet would be more serious, knowing they're dealing with more international famous dancers. I agree. I'm actually surprised that they're still doing the Mnet way, as Mnetty as they are. I was expecting it to be a little bit more chill, but I was privileged with the stage fighter setup, where it was like kind of dramatic, but they had competent, like really high level quality judges. So it was very interesting how we got right back into the swing of things with Mnet. It's like we didn't miss a beat. Aaliyah getting hate for being rude. Whoa, I didn't know that. For being rude by Korean fans. Wow, I didn't see her as being, I mean, I'm curious, Han, if you could elaborate with that one. Aaliyah's getting hate. What specifically, like, what did she do that was deemed rude? Was it for her not sitting there and being stoic in the position, like reacting as much as she is? Or is it her actual feedback? Because I am curious about that. I am excited to see Marley in more battles, but I don't want to see her in an elimination battle. I'll put it that way. I want USA to be safe enough to not have to be in eliminations. I love the eagle for sure. I immediately obsessed with Marley the moment I saw her. Isn't her hair incredible? I think Marley's hair. I need when I see her next. I don't know when that'll be, but our circles overlap a lot, so maybe I'll be able to talk to her. Maybe at some point in my life, I'll ask her what product she uses for her hair. Because as a white girl with not cool hair, I'm always envious. Anyway, girls hip hop is okay. What is it? Also got some comments attacking Marley and Logan for calling girls hip hop as not real hip hop. It's technically not, it's an adjective term. So but also though, Mnet's able to manipulate whatever Marley and Logan say to whatever they want. So we have no idea what they elaborated it on. Yeah. Anyway, and they were mad that Marley didn't react to Team Korea. I think Marley is conducting herself as so much better than I think Mnet would have made me. I think Marley is so well spoken, and she knows what she I mean, she kind of knew what she was getting herself into. She knows what it's like to be on a survival show, but not like this, where you have cameras in your face 24/7. That's what she touched on recently on one of her Instagram shorts. Was that. So this is a newer thing for her. But yeah, I'm just hopeful that Mnet ties their loose ends kindly for all the people that they're choosing to create disarray for, is where my feelings are. Yes, and Ducky Day, who wants it more, feels like a personality battle. It absolutely is, and it's very subjective, and it's a very emotionally charged perspective, because who wants it goes off of the emotion, like how emotions are projected, where confidence is a component that can be measured in criteria, but it shouldn't be the determining factor in isolation. Right. And especially if I'm looking at who wants it more, who is emotionally manipulating me more, that's emotional. It's not logical for something that needs to be logical. My feelings shouldn't matter or take into account for my verdict. Right. Because feelings don't help people get better as much. They help with comforting, but they don't help with growing. Does that make sense? Anyway, but yeah, let me see. Yeah, catches attention criteria. I hope the drone is gone. I wish.
Oh my gosh, the drone is so annoying.
I agree. Part of me, I was hoping that somebody hit it. I wish a kick went and knock it down. I wish. Anyway, but yeah, Madeline said my favorite's been Tomboy Gangster. That caught me off guard in the episode. They said, yeah, Tomboy Gangster. I don't know what that means. Like, I think it was in the description of one of the teams. Oh, was it like AG Squad? Maybe. I don't remember. But anyway, especially they have so much hip hop and whacking on the show. I wish they'd show more of the culture behind the scenes. Yeah, it's hard to show more of the culture. They're showing the culture through who's on it. I think we're sparking curiosity by a lot of people who are integrated in it, where it allows for the conversation, like what we're doing now. It allows for conversation. The innovator of girls hip hop in Paris is Poly Swag. If a fun fact, everybody, if you didn't know this, Poly Swag is not a defined street dance style that can be justified at Hip Hop International in the rules and regulations. It's not a real style that is used. Poly Swag is a mix. It's a fusion of Polynesian flavor, as well as described by Royal Family, with a street dance. So you have to look at what's underneath the Poly Swag. A lot of times you're seeing a dance hall posture, and you see a lot of Afro. So they tend to actually justify Afro or dance hall before they justify Poly Swag, because that's not a style you can justify on a judge panel. So that's a fun fact by that. Girls hip hop also you can't justify. It's just a feminine postural way of doing a hip hop rock and bounce is another way to put it. Anyway, but yeah, the dance style has definitely stirred up controversy, bringing in a U.S. team. Now, they could have brought a JoJo Gomez. Marley brought this up. There are a lot of really well-known people who are not hip hop that they could have brought. And I'm glad they brought who they brought, because it promotes this type of conversation, which is why, for me, I'm so glad we got Marley. If we had a JoJo does heels. Like, she's really good at doing heels. Aaliyah could have been on a team. You know what I mean? Mike, you could have had Mike on a team for like street man equivalents, bring Kenjas or whatever, you know? But it's interesting, right? So many thoughts. Okay, I have a follow-up to the Aaliyah question. Getting hate because of the way she said it, and they keep comparing her to how nice Kirsten was on the show. I think most Americans would not have a problem. I have zero issues with how she's, like, her tone. I'm wondering how her words are being translated. That I know what Aaliyah is saying because I'm fluent in English. I have no idea how they're translating it, right? So yeah.
I think she's such a good point.
Oh, yeah. Somebody else said a cultural difference. I do think it's a culture difference, because Marley and Logan, for me, I feel so seen as an American in the space. It's like I love just watching them be there. Because what is it? When Logan said it feels like Bums Up, it's just Street Woman Fighter and Audacity, lost it whenever she said that, because it's ooh, man. Anyway.
That was so good.
Yes. The drones on full cam look so funny. It kind of feels like a fly that just won't go away. It really is what that drone looks like. And they never use the footage. I have not seen single drone footage thus far.
I'm waiting for the transition for, like, oh, we're going to switch to now a drone shot, now back to regular shot. Nothing at all. Yeah.
So it's you guys make some very, very interesting points in the comments about a lot of what we touched on. But I'm ready to talk about some more battles if you're ready. Because you said we can get through them all. Let's go.
Okay, so we started commenting on Aaliyah, and like I didn't realize that she was getting hate,
I
but
didn't either.
literally the next battle after Honey J was Aaliyah from AG Squad and Aiki. So Aaliyah won, and I don't know, you can disagree, obviously, but okay, so I liked Aaliyah. I feel like I kind of wanted a little bit more just to show us like kind of like different things. Like I feel like it was good. She brought the like really great energy. I loved the facial expressions. I loved um just the way that she was getting in her face, and like even the comments that she was making that was getting Aiki rattled. I loved it. Like I loved the energy she was bringing. But to me, Aiki was very, so I think she can be very quirky, and like she brings that to every single battle. Like she knows that her personality, like everyone finds her endearing, I would say, and she knows how to get the judges laughing and get them to smile and get them on her side, I feel a little bit. So she knows the song that she's going to choose is going to be quirky. She knows that she can do certain moves that are going to get people on their feet laughing and having a good time, and I think that's actually her strength. And when it was time for Aiki to do her thing, to me she was a little bit more entertaining, which is not really like I guess a big deal in regards like if you're actually viewing technique. But I do think that Aiki at least showed us a bit more. Like she did this one move where I think she did like a kick and then twisted her body around like slowly, and I thought that that was a cool like change in the dance, and it was like it brought like it made me very excited to see like what else is she gonna do. So Aaliyah ended up winning, and my personal preference would have been Aiki actually. Um, but that's kind of me. I just think that she just showed so much more technique even, and just like different things she brought, and she was able to show more of herself and more of her skill in such a short period of time. And yeah, I really thought that Aaliyah was going to blow me away, and unfortunately she didn't. But I loved her energy, and I loved that she got Aiki rattled. What I didn't disagree, I mean, what I disagreed with what the judges said, like I think it was the judge who was also named Aaliyah. She said something like, "Oh, I wish you would have followed through at the end," like because Aiki apparently was dancing, and I think out of anger she just stopped and walked away and just went back to her crew, even though the song was still going. So I think that was something that Aaliyah said that she wished she didn't do, which I totally get, but I don't think that that should have made her lose. Like I don't think that that should have been the thing to sway. But I don't know. I'm not a battler. I don't know if that's, like I don't know if that's like a huge deal. But I don't know. I thought that Aiki should have won that.
I got you. So I selected Aaliyah, but I did state this. I said that with Honey J losing to Marley, if Honey J did what she did against either Aaliyah or Aiki, she would have beaten either of them, is what I said. So it's not about, okay, if Honey J loses against Marley, then she would have lost against anybody who won. If you look at it from, if everybody is judged off of the same type of criteria, the benefit of holding to that is you can even have more of an elaborated, okay, if you look at a battle bracket of, well, no, we're not going to get into that. That's too long-winded. Keep it short. So for me, I picked Aaliyah because off of my criteria that I stated was she had more shifts. So when the tone of her track shifted, she matched that. She also used her staging and her spacing. She went to the floor, so she had more variety in her levels, her variety of her techniques, and it was very clean and readable. So a really big component with battles and with choreography is readability. So if you treat it the same way as making a sentence in language, if you make a sentence that's run on, it's going to be a run on sentence, and it's not going to be as coherent, and you can't invest or digest it as effectively as if you have proper punctuation. And so Aaliyah brought more punctuation to her set to where it made sense. Her choices made sense. But she just got luckier, I feel, than Honey J. But I will say this on the side note, because you were talking about how Aiki was getting heated. Something I learned, I don't know who told me this. It was somebody on YouTube or Patreon, one of the two, where Honey J had already lost a battle prior to her calling out Marley. There was a battle she had already done and she had lost, and then it was her turn. So she got called out, lost, and then it was her turn. I don't remember who it was who called her out. But yeah, so she had already lost. So she was getting, she felt she had something to prove because she was a leader of Bums Up. And the fact that she lost again was very discouraging. So there is a chance there's probably something that led up to Aiki, battling Aaliyah, because she was called out by Aaliyah to do it, right? So, that's right. So Rihata brought up Honey J. And then Rihata beat Honey J. Honey J called out Marley. Marley beat Honey J. So that's what Okarun just said. She lost to Rihata before Marley. Yeah, I wish, Madeline, I agree. I wish they would give it in chronological order, but they're trying to storyline bookend, which is unfortunate because there was already a couple of battles that had already taken place. Like I think Ibuki and Lip J were one of the first battles to happen because there was nothing on Ojo Gangs nor on Bums Ups. I don't think, if I'm remembering right, none on their actual borders or banners. So, and notice whenever, I think it was when Honey J put a little stamp of loss on her thing, there was a RH Tokyo banner that was blurred. So they are not going in order. I wish they did because that would help us, but they're not releasing all of them, which I feel like they should, to help us as an audience be able to see what happened. But it also allows them to twist the story how they want because it just feels like, anyway, it doesn't quite feel that the most effective anyway, personally. But going back to this, the reason why I picked Aaliyah was for the reasons I stated. For Aiki, for her technique, it was a lot of incompletes, very similar to Honey J is what I said. In Honey J, what they both did was they were creating an idea and they threw it away to do something else technically. And with Aiki, a lot of things is that the type of humor that she has can go into, it can go in. I just lost my train of thought. Come back. Oh my gosh. So when it comes to gimmicks, so she did like a crowns up kind of gimmick to Aaliyah. Gimmicks only work if you can go ahead above incompetency to be like, I'm dissing you and I have this competency to prove it. Marley dissed Honey J's team. She did that. But the reason why that worked in her favor is because of her ability before that happened. Aiki did not justify the gimmicks, just like Hyojin Choi. She didn't. Her gimmicks in the uncuts didn't validate a head above perspective against her opponent, which is why it kind of fell flat. It's a high risk, high reward kind of situation, just like doing hat tricks or shoe tricks in light feet or hat tricks in crump. It's a high risk, high reward situation. When a hat drops, it can lose the essence and the environment in the space, which can be a factor in confidence. So all that to say, the reason why Aaliyah won for me was because of how she utilized her music, how she utilized the technique she chose to go with. And when you compare it to Aiki and her incomplete sentences and her gimmicks that didn't fall with the same degree of confidence that Aaliyah was able to, she had the confidence on hold. And there is something to say about that you appreciated from her. That is why I gave Aaliyah the win. However, if they were against other people, I could see different results. Left it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, moving right along. Girl, it's been an hour.
Yeah.
I did not think that we would go this long, but I'm kind of living for it because there's so much to talk about.
There is. Yes. I hope y'all are doing okay, those in the chat. I mean, those of you who've been with me, you guys, we've been through 4 hours together. So I'm used to doing things for a long time. I know you may not. I'm sorry. Welcome to our side of things.
I love that though. But I love that. I love I forgot who it was, but early in the chat you read it that she or they learned so much from you, and even through this live, when you're talking, I'm just like, you know, because I'm learning so much. I'm learning so much. I'm just like, oh, like now I'm gonna take this knowledge and I'm gonna react to other episodes and I'm be like, oh, I know this. I know to look out for that. Like, anyway, I just want to compliment you quickly.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
of course.
I'll also say this since I have, since we're on the topic, I am not an end all be all. I always say I'm a supplementary at best. So if anything, I hope I'm a stepping stone to curiosity, not an end all be all, if that makes sense. But yeah.
Mhm.
So anyway, Ducky Day. Hey, 3 a.m. in the UK. You got nobody to talk to. You got us. Talk
Mhm.
away. We're here.
Hello. We're here. It's been an hour. Let's go
Mhm.
another 3 hours.
Ready.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Who knows? Third battle was Rihata and Kyoka.
Mhm.
Ri won. Personally, I don't see how. Okay, so I'm going off base of when Kyoka started, like that intro was crazy. She drew you in right away. And just throughout the entire performance, I just thought she brought the energy, she brought creativity, she brought like it was just a no-brainer for me. It's hard to kind of go into depth because I don't know exactly what the judges saw. Like they kind of said, but I'm like, I don't know, it's hard to kind of understand their reasoning for why they chose Ri. Just because personally, I think Kyoka should have won. And am I pronouncing her name correct? I don't even know. Kyoka.
I believe so. I pronounce it that way, and I haven't been told otherwise. So yes, just go with it.
Yes, I don't know. Watching that battle, I wanted to rewatch it and rewatch it and rewatch it to see what these judges were uh, uh, thinking. Like I don't know. Personally, I just thought that they were way off. Let me know your thoughts. I don't have anything else to say on that.
Yeah, so I did it surprise me that Ree took it? No. Do I think she should have? No. Ree also didn't think she was going to win it, but she did. So there's probably 3 to 4 different reasons just off the top that we could talk through. First could be a production call, right? Where it's hey, we highly recommend you lean this certain direction.
Yeah.
But we don't know that. Second thing could be if we're going off of the criteria Mike and Aaliyah stated, did Ree show them based on their expectations they set more? Mike said Ree wanted it more based on what his criteria was. So that he technically stayed within his box of what he was looking for. Same with Aaliyah. Kyoka is used to the street dance China vibes of televised battles, which you have a Mr. Wiggles judging your battle, which is very, very different than Mike Song or Aaliyah or JYP. So because Wiggles is known as one of the go-to battle judges in most circuits. So, but that's a separate, once again, topic entirely. So I feel, nope, not about my feelings. It's about what the information is. Okay. So if you look at those components, those could be a reason why. If you also look at expectations that were set on Kyoka before she performed, did she meet the expectations of what they had set for her? No. That was not her strongest round I've ever seen her do. So I can understand how they saw what she did because am I supposed to put my expectations on how somebody's supposed to do in them meeting it as a proper result of they should get rewarded with a win? No. I know what Kyoka's advantages are for battles. That, however, does not automatically give her a win. I still have to justify it if I'm in a position of scoring. Because it wouldn't be fair to Kyoka if I awarded it to her, but she didn't bring anything that met the criteria I had set as a judge for her to win it. And the same can be said for Rihata. Rihata, her round reminded me a lot of Bottle E, where she can hold on to a round. Doesn't surprise me in the slightest. When you go in comparison to the criteria that I myself have set, Kyoka had more readability in her choices. I was counting, which is a battle lingo thing. You may notice dancers do. You may notice them do this. You may notice them do this. This means, hey, you're not listening to your music. This means, hey, I've seen you do the same thing multiple times, which is something you want to avoid in a freestyle battle because that shows that you're lacking in creativity and it can lower your score there. And so there's a lot of things about battle scenes that are not being properly reflected in the show. And that's one component, which is why you know, I think somebody asked, did I see the reaction videos? No, I do have them pulled up. As soon as we're done with the live, I do intend on looking at both Ojo Gang reactions and the second part of Trix's reaction and Waxy. So I got all World Street Woman Fighter commentary for me to review. So yes, to answer that question, that's there. Somebody also said, this is also another reason why it's important for them to dance on the same track. Kyoka had a harder track to justify than Rihata did. Rihata had words. She had there were notable timbres is what it's called. So it's different parts of the music and how it sounds, not just the sound itself, but what kind of adjective, like what kind of instrument. It's very notable, very iconic. So there's a lot of familiarity. So if she meets the expectations of the track, it's going to elevate how you feel as a watcher, right? Where it's like, oh, you're hitting the hypeness of the track. Therefore, I want to reward you for captivating me emotionally about it, which shouldn't be the point. Kyoka didn't have a track like that, which is also whenever we get to Ruth Fontaye, they call her Fontaye, but her name's Ruthie. Fontaye versus the other girl from RH Tokyo. That's a very similar point I gave there, is Kyoka had a very difficult track to justify. If you had Rihata trying to justify that track, it'd be a very different story. But they had two different tracks to justify. And Kyoka is not unfamiliar with Rihata's track because she danced against Zico, who won Street Dance China season 5 in the finals. So it's not about track familiar versus unfamiliarity. They just were given different tracks, and Rihata got to meet the hypeness of her track, and Kyoka had to combat hers. So that's why, to me, Kyoka should have gotten the win, even with the disadvantages that she had. Rihata took the win. I understand why she took the win for who you have as a judge for judges with the criteria that they themselves said and stated. They're allowed that privilege. Now, is it right or wrong? That's a different conversation entirely, but we're not here we're not looking for true, genuine battle culture is not being properly represented in the franchise. We all know this. And so that's the downside of it. It's not, I feel like there should be accountability and responsibility for it, but it doesn't surprise me, I think, for the results being that way. None of them actually surprised me with results for the reason that I stated, because Mnet's not structuring the show to make it more of an effective way of actually judging. They're allowing a lot of broad room for whatever you feel, because at the end of the day, global viewership is about how people feel about what they watch, whether or not you know dance. So that's why I try not to emotionally invest because it's not fair to the people participating nor the people who are there trying to be mentors or a helpful ear in it either. So anyway.
That's very true. Definitely, Mnet, they're just more interested in creating the drama. Like, even talking about the fact that there's so many battles that we're not seeing, or it's not in like chronological order. It's all orchestrated, which is frustrating, but obviously we know what we're getting at the end of the day. They just want drama. They're not focused on, I think, fairness in that aspect, or just giving respect to these dancers as who they are. But fourth battle was, this was the AG Squad versus Royal Family, the one that we saw in the trailer as well. A lot of people were excited to see Kaya versus Tisha. I don't know why I'm like scared to get into this one, because this one might be a little controversial. Okay, so we know that Tisha won, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Tisha won.
Tisha won.
My opinion, not me being scared, but my opinion.
Why are you scared? There's no torch and pitchforks over here. I have a cat, and that's about it. And a coffee. So, but I know it's scary to share feelings. Like, it's YouTube. We all know this. Safe space, right, guys? I mean, as much as it can.
Yeah.
But you have your comfort level, girl.
Yes. I mean, I think I'm partly joking, but just because I know that this was like, just because I know that this one was like a huge battle, one of the ones that everyone was waiting to watch. So anyway, so Tisha was the one that won. The notes that I got wrote down was, so first of all, I agree. I think that Tisha should have won. And I
also agree that Tisha should have won that. If that helps you.
Okay. Just because, like, so for a few reasons, when Tisha literally started, the energy was up to here, and I feel like she was dancing to the music like perfectly. Even like her style obviously I know she's in royal family, and but I just feel like she reminded me a lot of Kirsten when she dances and when she battled in the second season a lot. She reminded me so much of her. And I just thought that she just brought the energy. And then Kaya, who I do love, and I kept saying this in my reaction that I feel like AG Squad, like they have better dancers, but I think I like both groups. Like I was kind of biased towards AG Squad because I've loved them for so long, watching them in just the dance world. Those girls, the OGs. So I remember saying kind of like, oh, I know Kaya's gonna kill it. Kaya's gonna beat her. Kaya's gonna be so much better. Like, and then Tisha started dancing and I was blown away. And then Kaya, I wanted more, and she agreed. She was like, I know I did not show the extent of my skills, and I want to go again. I want to rematch. Because Kaya, I just feel like I was underwhelmed. There were a few moments where I was like, oh, okay, like she's giving me something, but for the most part, I was like, I don't know. Tisha's dance against her stayed in my head for a long time as well. Like I just want to go back, rewatch. I thought she was amazing. I thought she killed it. Just the overall energy she brought. Even before they started dancing, Tisha was standing there and she was looking AG Squad right in the eyes, and she was determined. She was serious, and then the music started, and she just went and she did her thing. And I don't know what happened with Kaya. Maybe she was rattled. Maybe she was overthinking, because I know that she can do a lot better. I feel like she knows she could do a lot better. But Kaya was still, yeah, Kaya was still amazing, but Tisha took it for me, like hands down. Like I was a little, I don't want to say disappointed because it's not that deep, but like I was underwhelmed when Kaya battled, and I know that probably hurt her ego a little bit. Obviously, editing is editing, and I don't really believe these girls are actually beefing and have.
Not at all.
I don't
Not
think that that's.
I'm shocked they pulled what they pulled, honestly.
I kept watching and I'm like, okay, well, why is there so much anger towards each other? Like, what is going on? So I just think a lot of that whole back and forth of royal family dissing them and AG Squad dissing royal family, I just feel like it's just so fake. I'm pretty sure these girls are tight. So anyway, I just feel like Kaya was probably like her pride was hurt just a little bit, because she's like, this is my student, kind of. Not kind of, like, this is my student and she beat me and I know I could do better. So I think there's a little bit of a pride, but I also think that was partly overproducing and over editing of this whole beef. So anyway, so I do think that Tisha should have won. You said that you agree.
Yes. Does that help you feel better when
A little bit.
Okay, no problem. So I agreed. Tisha won. Now, something that we have to understand is both Tisha and Kaya are. What is it? Very much Harimu and Red Lake.
Ooh.
Yes.
Oh.
They're both choreographers, and Marley made this point that I 1,000% agree with. There is a difference between choreographers who freestyle and then freestylers who freestyle, because how you structure movement is different. So if you look at how Marley structured her movement, there's a form of exploration that takes place. So where if I'm setting up a sequence, I don't cut it off or I punctuate it and then I move on to something completely different. Or my choices are very readable on like, okay, on this 5, 6, 7, 8 timing, it's going to go here. And then I'm going to go and use this timing right up here. What normally happens is, okay, if you looked at how Marley and her signature movements set herself up in freestyle, she's making organic choices where you normally wouldn't go that path or direction to hit that part of the music in that way. Where if you were a choreographer, you have time to sit with your music and make a decision on what parts you want to justify. Because choreography is the application of techniques and foundations in a choreographic sequence. Whereas in freestyling, it's an exploration of phrasing things together. It's more communal. It's cultural. It's what it was first, was through ciphers and freedom of movement and through the social dance scene. It wasn't in the studio in choreography first. It was there with the music. And so there's a lot of intimacy that can come with that. And with a lot of choreographers and dancers, especially with Royal Family, a lot of them have a lot of dancing backup work experience, which is so helpful for class rank mission. And I touched on this in Street Woman Fighter Vietnam. Royal Family's got a really good skill set for choreography retention. And they can, if anybody's going to steal choreo, Royal Family could steal it because of the same reason as to why, oh my God, the team from Street Woman Fighter Vietnam, it didn't surprise me that she stole it. It's beside the point. But it's my point being, though, is that a lot of people don't realize that a choreographer's framework, it's a different skill set than being a dancer. Being a different dancer is a different skill set than being a freestyler or a battler, right? There's a reason why Kyoka, she can do choreography. I saw that through Street Dance China, but it depends on what kind of choreography, right? And just like Logan has choreography experience because of her time with the lab that a lot of people don't realize, even though she breaks and she's in the breaking circuit for battles. So all of that to say, going into this battle, they both are choreographers or dancers with that experience. So how you phrase movement in your skill set is very different than being a battler. They don't have battle experience. So how they're supposed to frame it, both of them had very underwhelming performances in terms of vocabulary and style justification. Now, Tisha had more clarity in her choices. And also she didn't repeat as much as Kaya did. Kaya, unfortunately, made similar, not mistakes, but choices that Honey J did in her set or that Aiki did in her set, which caused what it did. And also you pair that with song choice. Both of them had dance hall heavy tracks. You had BPM differences, and you had Kaya not having as much of an engaging full out track like Tisha did. Then you're going to run into that. And also if people have such high expectations of Kaya, which they shouldn't, in comparison to Tisha, they should be held to the same degree of expectation because that's showcasing integrity and that's being respectful to who is competing, right? Just like you don't want to give Royal Family this head above expectation compared to a team you don't know for Mega Cruise, because that's not setting Royal Family up for success, nor is this team over here. It's treating everybody equally because that's the respectful thing to do. So I think you pair all of that up with a lot of emotions, right? With emotions of your judges, emotions of how they were feeling in the moment, paired with working on a skill set they don't do normally, you're going to get the recipe of what you got, which is Tisha worked because 2 out of 3 judges, their criteria was who wants it more and who made me feel something. Tisha is going to bring that because her song helped with that. Her energy helped with that. And she had readability in her choices as well. Kaya had the expectation that she didn't meet in people's eyes, and she got the short end of the stick on it, very similarly to Kyoka. The difference, though, is for me with Tisha from an analytical standpoint, she held her own more in that isolated round. Now, if you put Tisha against Marley, it could be a different conversation, right? Asking Tisha to dance to a hip hop track, asking Marley to dance to a dance hall track could be a different conversation too. Hence why it's important to have your dancers dance on the same track. Doesn't matter what it is, to have an equal bearing on expectations. Does that make sense? So that's the whole little tidbit there. So yeah, I went for Tisha for many points.
Yeah.
Kaya is she's gonna know if Kaya, let's say hypothetically, if she wins class rank mission, she's gonna know how to direct because she has experience with that. Marley will know how to direct, right? That's going to be a really helpful thing. And direction in a concept shoot is very different than choreography, retention, and replication of a professional dancer. So that's a whole little side piece. But yeah, that's my whole beef with the logistics of the Mnet class rank mission is in order to win, you have to do one skill set, but then the reward is a different skill set. So it's tricky stuff. So
Very. So I don't know. I wrote another note before we get into the last battle, which was Gabby and Danica the heels. Oh, sorry. No, there was another one. Ibuki versus Jay. That was the very end. But I wrote down a little note just in regards to Royal Family because I talked about this in my reaction. But it's interesting that Royal Family literally, like, in my opinion, I think in the teaser got a bit of evil editing because it seemed like they were going after AG Squad. They were shading them a lot and had a lot of things to say, and they were cocky. I think in the editing for the trailer, it made them seem that way, and so I was like, oh god, like I hope they don't make me not like them. Like, I wonder if that's how that's going to play out. But I think it was just something to know. Whereas even though they got kind of evil editing, and then also when they came to the show, and they were ranked 6th in regards to like who they think is going to win, and I I thought that it was interesting that they kept racking up, like they showed it with the editing in this episode. They kept racking up all these wins. All the girls from Royal Family kept coming out, winning each time. And then in contrast, they started showing AG Squad and how they kept losing and losing and losing. Same thing with Osaka. Like everyone thought that they were going to kill it in all of these battles, but unfortunately, they seemingly kept losing. So it's just something that I wanted to note because I think they were kind of the most I don't know, the maybe not the most disrespected, but a lot of people saw them as like you girls are not going to go far. So I thought it was interesting that they highlighted the fact that Royal Family was racking in all of these wins, and all the girls, even though they didn't show the fullness of each battle of each girl, they showed little snippets, and I was like, wow, like these girls are crazy. And I feel like they kind of got a rough intro. Like a lot of people kind of discredited them off the bat, and it was just interesting to see that they showed everyone, even AG Squad, who was their teachers. So I thought that was fun. I don't know, like just watching this episode, it made me really like Royal Family a lot, and I thought I was worried that after this episode I was going to like them least, but obviously that's my personal feelings and opinions, and everything can be manipulated. But yeah, I think that these girls they're very likable, they're very fun, and I feel like they were not portrayed that way at the beginning, like even in the teaser. So you know, something I want to know.
Yeah, and I also wanted to note too, a lot of, because Madeline brought up the point of there's been controversy on the Kylie battle, like comparing her eye twitch move with the Tisha signature movement short. But that move that she was doing reminded me a lot of the viral sequence, the Imniki, where they bring it up. And whenever you see people do that challenge, their eyes do that. So I saw it as more of a viral justification, similar to Ren Cristalago from Black Flag. He reminds me, like his crew reminds me of Weedham Boys from the Street Fighter equivalents of a lot of viral movements, but how you like vary them up and stuff. So for that, I think for me, when people get upset or they're like, oh, they did this move just like this person, a lot of people just stop and they don't go deeper to know like what the move is, where does it actually come from, and is that a trending move that is something that is meant to be shared, you know, or like meant to be done or modified or done with, or is it somebody's original move? Because it's not an original move that Tisha did. It's just something that she, you know, had a part of her of her signature movement short. And as another side note, Royal Family not just has been going through the ringer on the World of Street Woman Fighter, but also on WDCC, because they won gold on that circuit recently because of their set that they brought there. So I was able to analyze their set and touch on what judges actually look for on the WDCC circuit, because it's very different in a lot of ways compared to Hip Hop International. And so a lot of people, it's a very interesting experience. So I'm hopeful that Royal Family, the girls, are able to keep their chin up. And it's just a season of a lot of voices, and I'm hopeful that they're able to find clarity. And I hope AG Squad's actually able to be helpful to them, because AG Squad they're no stranger to receiving that type of feedback, because Royal Family's gotten in hot water multiple times throughout the years for different reasons. So that's just something I wanted to note, to touch on what you were touching on as well. And as a side note, I think the person, based on the battles that were shown and the battles that were not shown on the episode, because I watched them all and I got a VPN maybe and looked at the ones that were geo-blocked in Korea, which were like 2 of them. The Royal Family member that I personally believe did the best was she has blonde hair. I think her name's Moana, maybe, if I'm guessing correctly. I forgot who she was against, but her sequences and her choices were very impressive for not having battle experience. So I think it was not even one that was shown. Yeah, Moana, I think, was the strongest Royal Family member in the battle round that she did, with all the ones that I've seen so far. So you should go check it. Moana battled Ruthie Baby. That's a VPN blocked one. So that was very, very surprised. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure there's so many. Like, I definitely will watch that one. But I'm sure there's so many battles that are not shown. Well, obviously. But I don't know. I guess the episodes can't be like over the time it already is, like 2 hours and a half. But I just want to see them all. Like, I would sit there for 10 hours and watch them all. Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
but
Tea needs to be spilled on the show. Mnet has too much tea brewing for them to actually show dance. They have too much drama to fuel. It's the first episode. They got to establish their narratives quickly. They can't let people be nice.
Oh brother, oh brother. Oh gosh, let's get into the heels. The heels battle. Yeah, Gabby versus Danica. So Gabby ended up winning. I was not surprised by all the antics and all the just stuff that Gabby was doing. So they had a first round and I believe they got tied, right? And then they went again. Ugh, I feel like I'm not really torn because I feel like Danica should have won in my opinion, but Gabby, well, yes, obviously. I don't know. Like that was just, but I'm not surprised that they went with Gabby because of the antic. Like she knows exactly what she's gonna do to get the judges going. She knows that her battle is not gonna get cut by editing because she's going to do something crazy, do something to catch your eye. Like she knows what the producers want. She knows what even the viewers want. Because it goes back to what season 1 when she did the whole where she took off her pants or something, and then later on in the battle, I think against Aiki, she went on the what was it called, the steps and stuff, and she was like whipping her hair. Like she did the most and she won because of that. And again in that battle, I don't think she should have won that battle in season 1. So in here in this World Street Woman Fighter, like this battle, I don't think that she should have won. I think Danica to me was way better, technically just way better. She just didn't do the most, and they kept saying like, oh, Gabby has a star quality, like that's why we want her, that's why we loved her. And I'm just like, come on, like come on. And even at the end when Gabby sat on Aaliyah's lap, and when she did that, I knew Aaliyah was choosing her. I knew that she won, the judges at least. But no, definitely Danica, she was just very sensual. Like you could tell her technique is on a whole other level. Like it wasn't even close, but of course they chose Gabby. That I was not surprised. Yeah, and I think the judges said something like Gabby did the better performance and then Danica did the better heels performance. I'm just like, you guys are just annoying me a little bit. But yeah, what did you think?
My vote went to Danica. I understand why it tied. I don't. This goes back to a Mnet thing where I believe we should vote first before going and discussing, because they discussed for a tie, which doesn't happen in the battle circuit. You place your vote, and then if it turns into a tie, it turns into a tie. And then some circuits you have a discussion, so you're on the same page with your tiebreaker vote, just out of respect for you don't want to wear your competitors out. But then sometimes circuits just don't talk at all. They just do their vote and you hope. That's why a lot of times you see panels with odd numbers. That's the reasons to help prevent ties. So it depends on your circuit. So the fact that we're even discussing, should we see him again? It's really reminding me a lot of the Trix versus J-Rock situation, where if we're going to ask people to go again because of the entertainment value of it, I think it's a very disrespectful approach to who just went. It's better to just place your vote and then move forward if it happens to be a tie. So that's the really unfortunate thing. I really don't want there to be another repeat of that, but I can't control Mnet. And then also as a side note, oh my God, what was it? It was Ducky Day, you said seeing Haruto versus Hanbin battle from Boys Planet, the fact that didn't happen, I agree with you because I just finished up Boys Planet. I needed to see more of those dance battles. I cannot believe they were baiting people with that. Anyway, I agree. I have no idea if Mnet's going to release all the battles. I would be surprised if they did when we have such high caliber people. So it's going to be very interesting with that. But I picked Danica. because of her technique. You don't see heel battles. It's not really a style that you see done, because heels most of the time you see done in a choreographic context. So you'll see it in classes for concept shoots for work. That's more the commercial work, which is a side note. Commercial hip hop, I don't equate it as a style. It's an entity of work where you're doing hip hop in the confinements of work in the industry, such as commercials, tours, concerts. So even when I hear the term commercial hip hop, it's put in the same lens as girls hip hop and XYZ, because that's a very interesting topic that we could get into there. But with Gabby and Danica, Gabby introduced whacking in the beginning of her set, which was helpful, I think, for her choices. And I think it was very interesting finding the loophole to go to AG Squad's side. And she was still moving. She was still phrasing. She was still using vocabulary, even when she was over there. It was during the ties where you got a lot more of the politics or the loopholes of, okay, Gabby is getting in front of Danica while she's moving, right? And then with what is it? With Danica, I was saying in my feedback that if I was Aaliyah and if I was booking dancers, I would have booked Aaliyah. Like, I would have booked Danica. Like, for just her quality of movement was so impressive. In her core strength, her technique, she didn't bobble not once. Her phrasing was probably one of the most impressive that I've seen anybody who doesn't have a battle experience do on Street Fighter, period. Her phrasing is so interesting. And her tie round, I agree with you, Kevin, that the heel clack on the clap sound. Yeah, if you just watch RH Tokyo in the uncuts, RH Tokyo and Motive, watch Danica in the tiebreaker, there you go. Like, there's beauty in the Motive. I love having Motive where they are in the uncut, so I can just see their faces. It's awesome as an American, getting to watch other Americans look at this, right? Yes. What is it? Kriya or Krya, I'm sorry. She said at some point in the battle, it felt like Gabby was blocking the judges. She was, because that works in the circuit. It works for Street Woman Fighter, and you're allowed to do it. So Danica, like Gabby, what Bums Up has a huge advantage for is they know how the show works. So they know what they can do, and that can work in your favor. And it worked for Gabby here. It doesn't surprise me that Gabby won at all. Just like it doesn't surprise me that Rihata won over Kyoka. It doesn't mean that it should be that way or that my vote would have been that way, but I'm not emotionally like heightened at it, but my heart does hurt if those individuals, like if Danica or Kyoka, feel less than because of their performance, right? So that's why same with Honey J and Aiki and Hyojin. Like, all of them have experience with how the show works, and I'm really curious how this dance rank mission is going to go. And I think as much as we want AG Squad or Royal Family or all these teams to have advantage of Mega Crew, the group that has an advantage for Mega Crew is going to be Korea, because we're on Korean soil in the show, and we have no idea what Mnet is going to say they're allowed to do. Are they allowed to go to their home countries and make their Mega Crew and send it in? Or do they have to bring their dancers there? Because that makes a whole big difference and how the quality of the routines are going to be. And then you ran into the Jam Republic situation last season where Royal Family was prepping for Worlds. So they could not participate in the filming or Street Woman Fighter, which is so unfortunate, which is why they had the cards they were dealt with, even though they shot in New Zealand. It was just unfortunate there. And so that's why you ran into a lot of issues in the Mega Crew side for them, like what we can see here in the Megas going in class rank missions and all of that. So it's interesting too, because Gabby, it's funny that you're talking about Gabby. She said, I'm so used to Gabby that her performance just fell flat, and I felt Danica should have won. But I'm not surprised, because she knew exactly how the show judging works. I agree. And I think that's a really sad thing, right? But if anything, we can all find some comfort knowing there's a good chance Danica sees how we feel. And that can be a really good source of encouragement. Because there's times where I feel, that I could feel like that I may feel crazy, but then whenever I post it and then I have people going, yo, I feel the same way, that can be a sense of validation, even if I'm incorrect with my guess or my ranking. You know what I mean? So all that to say, I believe Danica should have won. It doesn't surprise me it went to a tie. I do think Danica, from a technical standpoint, from my criteria, she solidified it, and she brought a really, really cool perspective in ways that actually put heels in battles in a really interesting place, because you don't see it normally. So it was cool.
And I don't know, the thing with Gabby, I just got kind of dizzy, like all the head banging, all the head swinging. I was like, whoa,
I'm
girl,
impressed
like,
that she didn't get dizzy herself.
oh my
Honestly,
gosh.
it
Honestly,
takes a lot.
I have to give her credit a little bit, because how do you not get dizzy and fall?
Right.
The amount of stuff that she was pulling out of her hat, where she's like, I know if I just do this and that and just be more crazy and more out there, then they are going to laugh with me. They're going to hype me up. I will get people on my feed. The judges will just, their eyes will come right to me if I just do the most like wildest things. So I don't know. Definitely Gabby knew exactly what to do. She saw what worked in season 1. She saw exactly how Mnet was going to edit it. She knew she was going to make this episode, because she knows how to play the game, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
Lastly, we can't really do anything. Mnet is going to edit the way that they want to edit and favor who they want to favor. But I love that we're having this dialogue again, because I don't know, I like the conversation, like the way that things are drumming up a little bit. Like even just seeing people on social media, TikTok, and just even in the comments, like we're kind of creating a buzz, because we kind of know, we know the truth, and we know what it is, and like how Mnet works and everything, but or how the show works. But lastly, Ibuki versus Lip J. So Lip J ends up winning. Yeah, and this was an iconic battle, because 10 years ago, which I was like, well, you guys have not battled since then, but I just thought that was a long time. 10 years ago, they had the same exact situation where they battled, and every round that they were doing, it kept being a tie until the very last one, where Lip J ultimately ended up winning. So I thought that it was interesting. The same thing happened. Like they tied again, and then Lip J ended up winning in the end. This one, I feel like I went back and forth a little bit in my mind with who I ultimately thought should win. And I think for me, I'll be honest, I think it ended up coming down to my own personal bias, which I hate to admit.
But
But
I
I
appreciate
think
your honesty, though, instead of saying that you don't have one. But like, you're like, I know it could be out of bias, which is, hey, I have respect for that. Absolutely.
Mhm.
If you're honest,
And yeah.
yes.
No, yeah, you can tell me your opinions, but I just feel like ultimately, like I really could not choose in the end. And I think with that last battle, which I thought was brilliant, by the way that they were dancing together, and even when they both ran up to the judges together on beat, I was like, these girls are amazing. Like they're just they they are real dancers. And I will also note, I feel like this show, just Street Woman Fighter in general, made me really fall in love with whacking. I feel like it wasn't something that was on my radar to watch, really. But I just want to take my hat off to these girls and these just phenomenal whackers that made me seriously just fall in love with that style. But I do personally think that ultimately I would lean more towards Lip J. Do I think she was better? I don't know. But she just has this aura that she just commands your attention. She has this confidence that like she just looks at you and like it's a bit intimidating. I think that she just kind of like she just has that type of I hate saying the word aura, but it's like, you know, she has that. And ultimately that swayed me a little bit more to her side. But I think they were both incredible. And I would just leave it at that. Honestly, it was hard for me. I did not know, but I was just like, okay, honestly, I know I'm biased towards Lip J, so that's probably where I'm going to say I would prefer. But yeah, and I don't know. But what did you think about that battle? I have nothing else to say.
So for me, I'd say I'm glad I took it to a tie, because it was probably the most respectful thing to do for them. They needed to dance on the same track, because they both justified their tracks the way they needed to. Because how with whacking, because I've looked at their battle and I walked through it. The reason why I don't believe they've battled since that time. It's because they both judge. So they both are like, when you're a judge, you don't compete, because you're judging. And so they're both high caliber to where they're on different circuits judging. So that's why you're not going to get that type of battle as much. And then Ibuki and Lip J were both on Street Dance China, but not to where they were able to go against each other or anything. So it's really cool that they got to have a moment. Unfortunately, both of them are injured in different areas. So you have Ibuki's injured in her shoulder, which is why you saw her really use her left side more. And then I believe Lip J, it's her back. So they're both not at their prime, if that makes sense. But they're both high caliber and very competitive nonetheless. So for me, it was actually the more respectful thing to do, is to not have them both dance to different tracks, because they justify the mighty fine. You make it circumstantial to the type of track. For my criteria, it's the type of track that you're given. So if you're given a track that has heavy modification in the sense of there's remixes with more, not animation heavy kind of sounds, but it's not as culturally, what is it? It's not as how whenever in whacking, because before whacking there's a style called punking, and so that's the parent style of whacking, and then it almost died out in the 70s and 80s, and then it became whacking, and then you have who you have as key figures in the scene, is a whole thing. But my point though is you have this big genre of music that helped incept the style culturally in the clubs, where in the social scene where it came from, both in punking and whacking. And so if you have a track that more tailors to that era of music, then you're going to think it's going to be the more respectful approach to see movement justified with that type of movement quality and posture that goes into that style of music. Now, if you have that music and remixed with a 2020 remix EDM perspective, then having movement that has a creative element to justify those extra sounds in play can really help enhance your creativity. Both creativity is meant for both, but there's old way and new way of whacking, and both are justified and both have value. Lip J tailors to the old way, Ibuki's the new way. Ibuki also is a heavy hitter of influence, such as Denzel from Indonesia has been directly influenced because of Ibuki. And so you're really comparing, it's a forest of whacking, and then you have two different trees, right, that have been rooted in history and have been rooted in time, but they're just different perspectives. And so it really, honestly, with both of them, it comes down to the track. That's how close of a call and high level whacking competitions have become, is it comes down to a track, and it comes down to a judge and what their preference is when it comes to what they value in that circuit. And that, an apple and an orange, both are fruit and both are good for you. So unless you're allergic to them, then don't eat them. But anyway, my point though is they both justify their tracks well. You get to the track that we had, it didn't surprise me that they hit and held the way that they did. If you look, whenever you have both of them are so familiar with the catalog of whacking music or music like that song, they both knew it. They both were like, we're going to do this together. And you can just feel synergy, and you have good predictors. So you can predict music and patterns in music when you compete like that in the battle circuit. Especially when you freestyle, you pick up on those qualities. It's a skill set, like I said earlier. And so whenever they're going to have certain predicting elements come in play, where a lot of times you're going to get that type of interaction where they're frozen and they even match the dynamic together, right? And so they made the decision together to go to the judges and perform who they saw fit. If we're going off of preference, my preference was Lip J, because I valued the musicality choices that she brought on the tiebreaker track. Ibuki, technically, if you go off of the verdicts that had happened leading up to this battle that we saw on the show, good chance that battle happened a lot sooner than all the other ones did that we got to review. Ibuki should have won, because of what she was doing was the wow factor, performance, showed she won it, right? So there was a lot of that in place. Her jump into the splits, her energy, all of those things, a component as to why Gabby won, a component as to why Tisha won. Not downplaying their victories, but that's a component that was said in feedback as to why they won. Ibuki showed that. Lip J took the patience route and took the storytelling route, right? But she ended up getting the win, which is cool, mighty fine. Based on my criteria, Lip J followed that. But so did Kyoka, and so did Ruthie Fontaye, right? So it really just depends off of, technically, they should have voted Ibuki to maintain their own integrity of how they were setting up their verdicts. So it's a preference game at the end of the day. And especially when you have 3 people who are not fluent in the whacking scene, because it's taking me extensive time to understand the nuances of it. But that's the beauty of being in the position here, is I'm in that position to learn and glean, right? Being a listening ear. When you're not doing that in your day-to-day, nothing wrong with them for that, but there's going to be certain disconnects or certain things that end up taking place with that. And if you're okay, there's actually a question that somebody asked that I wanted to touch on. I think it was Gabby said, you'd be curious to know if it was something that Kaito Ting said, something that turned me off during the first episode was hearing the judges admit to not knowing who some of the dancers are. I wish production just gave them a little rundown. I will say this, it goes right back to the point that Linny, I told you, was that expectations should not be something that is set for somebody to meet for you. That's not fair to them, right? Everybody should be held to the same expectation, whether or not you know them, right? Ibuki and Lip J should be held, because it's the respectful thing to do for them, to the same expectation. Not Ibuki was in her prime here, so she needs to meet this, but Lip J's prime's here, so she has to meet this. But what if Lip J's here, but she didn't meet it, and Ibuki surpassed her expectation? That doesn't inherently mean that Ibuki should just naturally win. It's what is your expectation that you're setting here? It should be the criteria that you yourself set. And then from there, did they meet it? And if they didn't, how do you justify that? The judges can't justify their reasons why. It doesn't surprise me, because even in the battle circuits, judges don't know how to justify. Choreographers who judge cannot justify why they picked a choreography over another. I touched on it when Mike Song did the Mega Cruise for Street Man Fighter, talking about Weedham Boys scoring so low on the Mega Cruise there. I touched on why Mike's feedback wasn't the most practical approach to docking them points. But that's, once again, completely side topic. But my point being, with Lip J and Ibuki, the respectful thing, like I said, is for them to dance to the same track. Because from a battle circuit standpoint, for the women that we had there battling, that was the best way to showcase them, was by them being able to do that. So whoever won, it wouldn't have surprised me. Ibuki should have won based on who was winning. But Lip J winning doesn't surprise me either, because of what she brought, if that makes sense. So there you go.
Oh my gosh, yeah, for sure. I think that was honestly it. There was some more like things that I wrote down for us to talk about, but I think we already hit them. So yeah, I don't know. Is there any other last thoughts? Or maybe we can go to the comments and just see. I think someone said, yes, I feel like she'll be a great judge for the class and K-pop missions, looking for those star quality factors. But for the battles, it is too vague and can lead to biases. Ooh, thoughts?
I agree with that. I feel like if you're not told to not go off of expectations, that's all you have to go off of. So that's where the tricky thing is we don't have, like, Mnet's not supplying any source of resource to help those that are there adjudicating be on the same page with what they're looking at. They're just going off of their own personal scopes, which can be helpful in a time and place. But even then, if you're all looking at something and you're not all on the same page as to what you're looking for, then you're not setting your people up successfully. And we see that with Ojo Gang. Like, they had major problems with it, and I see why, because they were set up for failure, because they're going off of what battle circuits normally ask for when they did TV shows, what they normally do. The fighter franchise doesn't do that. It's really a very disheartening thing if you think about it. If I'm having to battle my hardest in front of 20 to 30 cameras at all times on me, and having 3 people's opinions where, depending on how they feel that day or whether or not they know me, it determines how I'm going to do here, and how I win or lose will determine the ranking of my team, aka my country, therefore potentially putting us in elimination and causing major problems and backlash. I wouldn't find that fun for anybody. That sounds like failure is guaranteed across the board for everybody, because there's no way for you, even with Korea, there's no way for you to really know unless they tell you. But if they're giving you conflicting information, it's going to bring is frustration. You know, it's just very stressful. Now, is that what Mnet wants? Part of me feels yes, because it promotes more drama
Yeah.
and there's a lot more footage for them to work with for whatever narrative they want. So
Mhm.
that's a really, really disheartening thing, because it's, yeah, and people are making very important points. People feel like they have to sacrifice their core values and integrity to win the show, and we shouldn't have to. You know, it should be, we can collaborate. It should be a collaboration, not, I mean, survival, yes, but not the way that they're making it out to be. I want them to be able to survive and at least have some mental healthiness in the process. But when has the franchise ever done that? Never. So, yeah. So,
No. If they can make these girls more frustrated, more stressed out, more just agitated, they're gonna do that. If it means just like more ratings, or if it means, we're gonna get a cool like fight, or like a crazy comment from one person to the other, like we're gonna get them. That's what they're banking on. So they're definitely not focused on these girls' mental states and if they're happy or not. They could care less. Um,
no, they
they
want
could
them
care
as
less.
emotional as possible,
Yeah.
because you get a lot of things coming out of mouths
Hmm.
that, they can manipulate the way that they want, which is not fun.
No. And the more like people even online comment on it or react to it, like it just brings in more views to the show. So they know that it's already controversial. They know that that people are dragging them for evil editing, or something that they think is unfair. Like they know that the fans and other dancers are just like viewing it and they're already agitated. They want the discussion. So I don't know. I'm excited to see the second episode. It's going to be, I believe, live again on Tuesday on the YouTube, but I probably won't watch it live. But I don't know. I'm excited for, I think it's group battles next. I'm
It
excited for
should
that because
it
yeah.
should be, yeah. I don't watch the live stream because I wait for all the footage. I watch the footage with all the uncut to try to get a hold of all those first, so I can just go in with as little information as possible, but know kind of what the gist is, and then make my decisions, and then watch the episode, and then be a viewer. Because it's really hard for me, what I've noticed, especially with battles I already knew the results of, it gets hard for me to formulate, would I have voted for this person if I didn't know that they won or lost? So it makes it better for me in my particular position. But I personally want to see more 1v1s before we get to commandos or routines, which is what those would be called.
Mm.
And those are really fun. I kind of like that we added those in with 2v2s and 5v5s, because that was some of the
Yeah.
best elimination battles, were these crew versus crew commandos. But they're not really commandos or routines the way that in the battle scene they are, because they're going to know their tracks. But here, in the regular circuits, you don't. You just have to know with each other, and that's what makes commandos so cool, are the fact that they're on a track they've never danced to in
Mhm.
that way. They didn't make the choreography for that track. They just made the choreography for a BPM range depending on the circuit. So it's a very interesting thing. Yeah. So, and then I agree with y'all. Y'all are saying that we need to have a Logan or logistics battle. We do. She is fantastic at what she does. So I would love to see that. I feel like, yeah, I agree with you, Wheezy. Logistics versus Lip J. I think that one's up. I haven't watched it yet. My gut tells me if there's going to be a lot of energy, or it's going to be a lot of drama to it, they're going to release it. Like, who knows if they're actually going to do 1v1s again? I feel like they will. But I think there's enough time to go through some of the class rank. I don't know if they're going to release all of it, though. I feel like they're going to build up, but we don't have the auditions yet. I don't know. Like, I have no idea what they're going to do. So, anyway.
Gosh.
But yeah, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I don't have too many thoughts as of yet, but I'm just excited to see. I think they teased Osaka Ojo Gang going against in the next episode. Osaka Ojo Gang going up against RH Tokyo, and I um I kind of I, my opinion is that Osaka will be my favorite. Do I think that they will win? I don't know. Even though I do love Rihata's choreography, I just think that Osaka, when they are very together, they look amazing. And they have just this certain like vibe and swag that I just love so much. I just think that when they go head to head, it's just going to be, I'm going to probably prefer Osaka in this battle. But yeah, I also just don't really enjoy the kind of produced beef as well. 'Cause I think they showed in the teaser that I was it Ibuki that said something like, "Oh, we don't need two Japan crews." Like, like they're coming for them. Like that whole thing, I'm just like a little tired of. I like them both, so I'm just like this whole like fake drama. Like it's kind of obviously fake. Same thing with Royal Family and AG Squad. It's just like obviously not a real thing. But I am excited to see them go head to head. That's the teaser that they showed in the next episode. But my thoughts on anything else, I don't have thoughts as of yet.
Yeah.
Do you have any last thoughts or anything else you want to go into? Because we can keep going.
Oh, I'm fine with doing this all night. It's no problem to me. Well, I think Ojo Gang's gonna take a class rank mission. My gut tells me they're gonna take one. Because you have Minami there. And Minami is really, really good as a dancer. And they haven't touched on her background at all in this show. And so I feel like Ibuki and Kyoka have choreography experience because of Street Dance China. They were forced to. You had to. But battles were the main component of the show, but you had to do choreography to survive the rounds. So Ojo Gang, what they have is something that Wolflow didn't, is they have choreography retention experience that Wolflow didn't have. And so my gut tells me if it's like, I noticed specifically, I'm going to call it, this is my little gambling call here, is that if it's the group of 4, I think, was it Bums Up Choreo was picked? I feel like if it's because they're doing it different. They don't have like just one person per team now. It's like a group of 4 and then a group of 2. Part of me feels like the group of 4 Ojo Gang will take it because of who the 4 are and how they work together. And for me, I personally wishful thinking for the 2v2s and the crew versus crew for the battles before we get to Clans Rank mission, I want to see a routine or commando battle between Motive and Ojo Gang. Specifically, Minami and Kyoka versus Marley and Ruthie Fantaye. I think that would be phenomenal of a matchup because both of them have heavy hip hop backgrounds. So I think that would just be like one of the coolest things, but that probably won't happen. And if that means one of them loses, then I don't want that to happen either because I want them all to do very well. So that would be my little thank you, right? I think that would be a really fun little prediction here. I asked for a Lip J Boogie battle and we got one, so I was really happy about that. I would say there's no breakers, so that'll be interesting, right? I also think all of them picking Bums Up's choreo and then stealing it is a smart move because Bums Up knows how to make choreo because they all were a part of the show before, but also they all think it's easy enough to steal. And I don't think Bums Up's choreo is not going to be the same way as Latrice's was when it looked easy to steal. Latrice's wasn't easy to steal at all if you didn't know how to move like that. Latrice knew how to move like that. The structure was just simpler, but her body was killing it. I would say my girl from Subakill should have been a contender for taking that out of anybody there, but that's a side note. But I do think with Bums Up, with how they structure the choreo in general, it can, I do expect a lot of steals this season.
Yeah, honestly true.
Makes it dramatic though.
Oh my gosh. I mean, not to revisit the stress that last season caused me, but Latrice's choreography, I just feel like her group gave her such a hard time, and I was like, relax. And then they thought her choreography was just like so easy, but no one can move like she can move. And like, I don't know, just the little comments that I was seeing them make, I was just getting a little frustrated, and I just
I understand. I know what you're talking about. And I actually touched on whenever I heard about what comments were made, I said, you can learn how to move like her, but you chose not to. You didn't learn how to move like her. It's not because of how you grew up. It's not because of the color of your skin. It's not because of XYZ. It's you have a choice to insert yourself in a culture and grow and learn from it. You didn't choose to. So you don't have a right to sit here and say, oh, I can't do it because I'm not a part of that, or sorry, not a part of that culture. Because it's her culture. You can learn it. I know how to do it. I can do it. Difference is, though, it's implicit, meaning it's lived in for Latrice. So it's easier for her to do because it's part of her life. If you want to be competitive, then square up and learn. It's not impossible. So, and that's like, that was my like teacher coming out, if that makes sense, of you can teach somebody to do something, right? Yes. And especially teach them whenever you give them the opportunity to learn about it from a historical and cultural standpoint. And then, like, that's an excuse for incompetence, is what I said it was for some of the comments I was hearing. I was like, you're just trying to find an excuse for the reason why you couldn't do it. That's not her fault that you didn't square up. It's not her fault for anything. Don't blame that. Blame yourself for learning what you learned, and you didn't take the time to learn what you needed to learn if you wanted to be competitive. Or maybe you shouldn't have chosen that and said what you said. So that's why, yeah. So I agree. There may be more similar comments made this season. Part of it, though, could be like how it's narrated. It could be how it's plug and chug together, and then what is it? People will get confused when they were voted worst dancer when they made a fuss during the MV process. Yeah, we have no idea what went down for anything that's going to be going down. The only way we would know is if we listen to podcasts after the season with all the girls will be on it, or the judges, or any of that. Like, we're not going to really know what's really said in the proper context in which it's said. So I would say, if this helps at all, that even if something like that gets brought up, I'm hoping it doesn't. I'm hopeful that it's able to help people be able to have productive conversation about it. You know what I mean? Because I know it's not just that kind of stuff that we could touch on, because there's other things happening in the K-pop scene right now with there's a lot of concepts being done that are not the most mindful to the cultures that they're representing, So I think that's the topic we could have a completely different conversation on. But I really do think I agree with Weezy. The whole concept of having to pick a worst dancer just makes the class mission a bit icky, because I feel like it puts extra pressure on the main dancers. I agree with that. And also, when you're picking the worst dancer, you're picking somebody who didn't, I don't know, it kind of feels like you're just trying to like throw a dart at a wall and just try to hope that something sticks. Like, for me, I think I said in the episode viewing, who would I pick to say the person that I can beat? Like, it's not guaranteed. I'd pick a judge before I'd pick a contestant, honestly. I'd be like, JYP, come on, let's go have a round together. I wouldn't be picking Kyoka, that's for sure. She has way more battle experience, and she has a higher percentage to win. Not saying I'm incapable, but, I'd say I'm smart. I'm going to pick JYP before I pick Kyoka 10 out of 10 times. So, but you can't pick a judge anyway. But yes, but to your point, like talking about with some of the things that happen with Latrice and that whole class rank mission, I'm definitely an advocate for, there's a lot of growing and learning that can happen, that we can learn to not make excuses for. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like there were a lot of excuses made that just take ownership and learn, Latrice did it better. Like, and that's okay. And it was her choreo too. And you guys chose it. So you chose to do it. So stop making excuses.
Yes. And it's just like the victim mentality of like, oh my God, like I can't do it. It's like they're just making, like you said, excuses over and over and they think that they're in the right, which is actually kind of scary with the comments that they're making. And I don't know. Or even Redlick with that viral clip that went where she commented on Latrice's body and like, or just like the way, oh, she has a leg up because of her body. And like, I don't know, just like certain microaggressions. I made a video on my channel about what a microaggression is and like why that was so problematic. And like that whole situation, it's been a while since I kind of dove into that. And I know there's like more specific things that we can address. But no, it's just the whole situation was so frustrating to see. And just the way that Latrice and Jam Republic was treated, like, And I even remember in that season, in season 2, I think it was the finale when they did the last dance that Jam Republic did. I honestly got a little bit emotional because I was like, I know that there's so many people who this style of dance is so new for them and they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to address it. They don't know what's going on. And obviously not everyone. I don't think that that is just a huge like just a type of dance that they've never seen in their life. I'm sure people in Korea have seen, but I just think that there's definitely some where it's new for them, and they did it so beautifully. The choreography was just gorgeous, and I kind of felt like with a dance like that, they may not win, but it just because I know how the show works. But
Mm-hmm.
it was beautiful, and it was a beautiful representation. I was so proud of my girls, and yeah, I don't know. There was just so much that went on in last season that obviously we can touch on, but I don't know. Maybe we should just focus on World Street this season, but I don't know. Not to
It's
go back into that.
yeah, it's we'll have new things, unfortunately, to probably be able to dive into. Kevin just said, I want to see Ua popping battle. I agree with that. I would like to see Ua popping as well. Was Ua on Ojo Gang? I'm trying to remember. Or is she on RH Tokyo? I can't remember that for the life of me because I think that's an interesting point. But anyway, yes, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I got emotional watching it too when I was analyzing it. I'm like, this is so beautiful. Like I had to take a second, pause, and like just deep dive real quick on what kind of techniques or what a lot of the intention gave an impression, and composition was really cool. Okay, Ojo. So a lot of people may not know, but some people here in the comments do because you guys told me. Ua is this is what connects Minami and Ua on Ojo Gang together. So Minami is on Katakawa Dreams with D League. There's another team member named Kello who's also on Katakawa Dreams for D League. He is he the teacher of Ua for popping. So there's a connection between those two, even if Ua hasn't done time on D League, but she was also in Street Dance China as well, like Ibuki and Kyoka. So there's a lot of connections with all of these people in Ojo Gang, so much more than people realize. Just like they're setting up a narrative with RH Tokyo that it's like Rihata and the students when so many of them have so many different experiences outside of Rihata. Like it's pretty funny how they're trying to set that up. You know what I mean? Like we're trying to make beef out of nothing. And I'm like, what are we doing? It's just kind of funny. So such a Street Dance China connection with everybody. It's crazy. But yeah, I feel for you. And I'm really hopeful that we hopefully we don't experience what happened with the Latrice situation. But I'll let you know, I'll be ready with both of my guns locked and loaded in the event that something like that happens. And I'll be like, look, let's chat. So anyway, but oh, Kevin, you're so real for that. Ojo is my Chinese team that I couldn't have. Because most of them were on Street Dance China. That's funny.
Ooh. Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm definitely excited for more conversation. I know for sure, like the rest of the season is going to get crazier and crazier and crazier, and there's going to be more things to discuss. But I think we covered everything. I don't know if there's anything else to address, but
there'll be so much more, I'm sure.
Yeah.
A whole nother, we're going to probably touch on battles and class rank and thoughts and who we think takes what. It's going to be great. And I think it was fun because we had a lot of people join us. Thank you guys for joining.
Yes, thank you. Oh gosh.
Is there anything else that you want to say, or are you pretty much all good?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I should I try and say something controversial to get the clicks and views and get the drama going in the chat? I'm just joking, guys.
I feel like I don't know if there's we can say this. Here's our drama thing. The goal is to have this every week. We have two other people.
Ooh.
Yeah, we have two other people that are covering World Street Women Fighter. Why don't y'all comment and guess who the other two people are? They couldn't make it today, but we do have a plan of doing this every week to kind of touch on and for all of us to hang out. We don't have the date locked in quite yet, but once we do, you'll see it. It'll be good. Yes. So y'all take your bets. Who do you think? Who are the other people that stir the pot like we do on Street Woman Fighter. We'd love to.
Yes, I want you guys to. Yeah, please comment. I want to see the guesses, and then I want the reveal to be so fun.
Wait, I gotta remember names. Oh man. Oh man. How about y'all comment under our reaction videos or something, or underneath this one? Because I think this chat, I don't know if it vanishes or not, but if what is it? You can leave a comment under a live after it's over, and you can like put your votes on it. I think somebody may have gotten somebody right. If you look, I don't know though.
Oh my god.
Trix and Waxy. Oh, that would be awesome. I think Trix subtitles destroyed me when I watched them. Skincare. Instead of crump, it said skincare on it. It was really good because he's using an AI translator. It was really fun. Anyway, if y'all don't Zoom Waxy as well, I don't know. Maybe I'll reach out to her before going to Korea in July to see if she even knows me. Probably not. That's okay though. We don't have our circles don't overlap that much. Waxy's and I. Ibuki's in my circle overlap more than Waxy's. Ibuki and I know some people, so which is kind of cool. So anyway, why don't you just call Taylor up? I don't know. I'll DM her. I'll give Waxy a little DM on Instagram. Anyway, but cool. Then Jess Dancler. Oh man. So yeah. So anyway, this is fun. But yeah, y'all stay tuned. There'll be another one. Stay tuned. But you'll see us. These are our handles on YouTube. If you want to follow us, you don't have to. It's your free will. You do
free wills, yes.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. I mean,
Motive knows me. I know AG Squad seen my stuff. Yeah. So I've met Ochan as well already. I've met Ute as well. What is it? Yeah, Motive's very familiar with me. And then I know Katakawa Dreams knows me. I don't know if Minami does though. So anyway, with the class rank missions, I don't know if I'll make it. I'll dance all the class ranks though. Don't worry. I'll do those. I don't know if I'll make any choreos. I'll let y'all vote. How about that? Because I normally do that. I normally dance and choreograph. So we'll see. It was fun though. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. You did it. We survived. Huzzah!
We did 2 hours. I did not expect us to do 2 hours, but I kind of loved it. This was fun. This was fun. I can't think of anything crazy to say. Maybe next time I'll think of something crazy and get the drama going in the chat, and then
do it.
Maybe me and you, Jessica, will be beefing, and who knows? Ooh.
Yeah. You're too cool. You're too cool to beef with. Why would I beef with you?
Girl, you're too cool.
No. Maybe if we get blocked by Mnet, that's the tea. There we go. We'll do that.
Ooh. Honestly, with the things that we said about Mnet,
I've said much worse. Yeah, I got you though. Okay. This is what Mnet wants. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So anyway, this was a pleasure.
Yes.
I'll see a lot of you guys on Patreon and on YouTube. I'm about to go ham on some of these analysis, and then the K-pop realm too as well. So, but yeah, this was great. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you guys for tuning in. I guess my full reaction will be up as well to the episode on my YouTube, and then full uncut with no watermark on my Patreon as well. If you guys want to subscribe, check it out. I would love that. But yeah, that's it for me.
I got you. Love it. I'll say do you have a catchphrase you end with?
Me?
Yeah.
Like who else? But I'm thinking I kind of just go, oh, that's the end of this video. That's the end of this video. See you guys in the next one. Bye. That's it.
I love that.
Nothing creative.
If you know what my catchphrase is, can you please list it in the comments? Because I've said it in about 2,000 videos at this point. But I'm curious if people, I know there's at least 3 people in here because I see you guys on Patreon. I say something every single time, and I want to see if they can say it or find it. Give it 5 more seconds. 5.
I want to know. I want to know it, and I want to learn it.
3. 2. Let me see if it's on the YouTube one. 1. Oh, we didn't say it. That's okay. What I normally say in every single video, not the pop quiz. I'm sorry, Gabby. What I say in every single video is, I'm Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. And so I say bye. And I say catch you on the flip side. It's very like anticlimactic. I know. Catch you. That's right, Madeline. You will catch me on the flip side. Because I have a tier called On the Flip Side. So that's why.
Wait, you're so creative. Now I need to think of something.
I'm from the South. You have to be to survive next to the meemaws and pawpaws over here. You got to be quick. So you said very Midwest. But yeah, this was great. So, I say, you know me, I know you. I'm Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side is what I say every time. That's how I round up my outro. So now you have it. There you go. Now you can be on the flip side with me.
Okay. I'm going to learn it and memorize it, and then I'm going to say it next time. I'm Linny, and I will see you on the flip. No, I'll remix it. I'll remix it. I'll come up with something. I'll remix it. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you guys for watching again. I'll catch you on the flip side, and Linny will catch you on the other flip side until she has another flip side. Yes. Bye.
Bye, guys. See you.